What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Premier Boys Soccer Podcast.
You know what we do around here? Chit chat about some football, hang out, be friends, stuff like that. As you can see, we have a new guest on the show today.
Special guest Francis. Welcome, Francis. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you making the drive over here with the one-piece hat for all those and the claps in the back from Tristan.
All the way from the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. So just so you know,
Had to represent on the podcast.
I have to
Gotta
represent.
know what it's about.
And I'm
I don't
wearing
know.
the classic Real Madrid Ronaldo jersey. What are you wearing, Jay? You got a
the,
nice classic jersey.
the old school
You
Bayern.
got the old school Bayern jersey. I
Yeah.
like that jersey. It's
Yeah, I
nice,
didn't want to
classic.
take anything off the wall. I was gonna wear the Holland jersey, but I like it up there.
You've worn that a few times already, so I actually like the way this camera angle actually fits.
I know. That's why I was.
Fits the
that's why
jerseys.
Yep.
Why don't we do this more often? We do the couch too often. We need to change it up a little bit.
Oh, couch is just easier now. There's typically just two of us.
That's true. Yeah, a lot less
Yeah.
moving parts, but
Yeah.
comfort and ease.
Plus,
I don't
with the new series starting next week.
Oh, that's right.
See the TV.
We do have a new series. We will talk about it more
We'll talk about it at the end of the podcast.
more at the end. We'll just bring it up next week. Maybe we'll just intro with it. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Oh no! I say we make a little announcement
At the end?
about it, and then we start next week.
Okay.
But
All
we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
Anyway, so we're going to do things a little bit differently. I know we usually talk about Premier League, but since we have Francis here with us, we decided to kind of take advantage of his football knowledge, and we're going to talk about a few different things. So we'll talk about some Premier League. We'll talk a little bit about Premier League, and Francis, your kind of opinions on the Premier League. We'll talk about Champions League a little bit, who's doing what, and then we will also discuss what were the topics. It was Pogba versus Jude,
Yeah,
talent wise,
Messi versus Ronaldo,
Messi versus Ronaldo, classic.
And then loyalty versus money. Kind of more or less towards the whole Saudi situation going on.
That is a hot topic currently with the Saudi
Yeah,
situation.
we
going
like
on.
to talk about it on this
Definitely.
podcast.
Yeah,
too.
it's definitely been a hot topic on this podcast.
And it's
Francis.
hard not to talk about it, man. It's the talk of the town in the world of football
It
right
is.
now. In a sense.
It is one of the most groundbreaking things going on currently in the football world, I would say. A shift.
I'm gonna start us off with a quick question, Francis. What do you think, talent-wise, is the best league in the world?
Ooh.
Now, when we say talent wise, what do we define as talent? Because I feel like when it comes to talent, it's a very
Good.
nuanced topic. People have different ways of looking at talent. We have some people that we look at players like. Would you consider a guy like Thomas Muller as a talented player?
Oh, absolutely. IQ.
Would you consider Toni Kroos as a talented player? Um, would you consider, you remember Guti that played for Real Madrid? Would you consider him a talented player?
Yeah.
Okay, but these are guys that, so they don't show both. They're like, you can say, as close to perfection as you get when we talk about two-touch players.
Yeah.
Just move the ball. So if we're looking at that as a talent and as a skill that you can even acquire by learning, I'm tempted to say the Dutch league.
The Dutch.
I'm tempted to say the Dutch league
Okay.
because I'll be looking at the Dutch league. I'll look at the Spanish league. I'll look at the English league a little bit closer to the French league even, because when you look at it, how many players do we see that end up being world class, not because the major say so, but you can see the way they play and they end up on the best teams in the world. How many of them actually come from the English league?
A lot of them do come from the Dutch league. I will agree with you there.
Yeah.
See,
100%.
like the it's like the rate at which players grow that way, it's totally different. It has a lot to do with the way they have been taught to play football. The Dutch league, the German
I
league,
was gonna say German.
the German league, Bundesliga. So Eredivisie and Bundesliga, the way the football schools there are really good. You have to give credit to that. The development system is really good. Then you look at the Spanish league too. You take a guy like that's probably doing well on what you consider an average team in the Spanish league. You bring him to the Premier League, they immediately become the man of the team. Remember when Sati Cazorla came to Arsenal?
Oh yeah,
He was doing something. He could barely make the Spanish team. But the way he was playing, you make you wonder how is he not on the Spanish team? And just that's an example. And there's been so many like that. But hardly do we see an English player developed in England, leave the Premier League and go to another major. You hardly even see them go to a major team. If they go to another league, they'll probably be in one of those Europa. Now we have the
Mid-table
Conference
team.
League, mid-table teams. They won't make it like to the major ones. Someone leaving the Premier League to a major team is definitely someone that came to England, not from England.
Yeah.
So looking at that, I won't really say the Prem is competing for that. But if we look at the skilled players that have already been developed and are right there now, that's a major market that they will definitely they will always hold based on the popularity of the Prem. They will always hold that advantage, that edge. But looking at that, I won't consider the Premier League to be top three even. So I'll be looking at Eredivisie, the Dutch league, the German league,
Spanish.
Spanish
La
league. I
Liga.
did mention the French league too.
A lot of good
So
players come out of the
don't
French
sleep
league.
on a lot of good. They have very
Mhm.
good academies.
Oh yeah.
That's something that we can sleep on.
I mean, and the amount of just talented footballers that come out of France in general. I mean, their academies have got to be just top class out there.
I was thinking to your point, Francis, of different players that have gone from England to other leagues to develop and have become developed players. The only three that I can think of, yes, the only three that I can think of off the top of my head are Cristiano Ronaldo from United. He came from Sporting,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I was gonna say that's a
he
Portuguese
he
talent.
United to Madrid, and he did fine. Gareth Bale, but you don't see any coming from academies.
You don't
I
see,
will
yeah,
say that
Gareth
you don't
Bale.
really see any
Gareth
from
Bale is
academy.
okay. So okay, we won't put Cristiano because he came in already talented and skilled. And what many people look today as skill and talent is what Ronaldo came in with. And people look at Ronaldo, for instance, like we'll get to eat the Ronaldo and Messi thing. People will say Messi is more skilled than Ronaldo because what they're looking at is Ronaldo is just finishing, he's just scoring. They don't think he's doing anything else on the field. So people look at that and mistake that for what's considered natural born talent and talent or skills. But if you go back and look at Ronaldo in his early days, that's all he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He was, first of all, he was a winger playing in the midfield. He would dribble. That's all about it. He could dribble. He could still score. That was playing with the ball was his thing. Coming to United now, he had to learn a different way of playing. And then with the veterans that he had around him, you hear about the stories with him and Van Nistelrooy. Van Nistelrooy getting pissed off about Ronaldo dribbling down the line, and they have to get it to him that hey, you have to cross the ball and all those things. Him now adjusting his style of play, doing and learning different ways, adapting to different situations based on the need of the team and how he wants his game to do and what he feels most important. It comes down to a point where he feels like, okay, doing a lot of this is not necessary. Look at Neymar, for instance. When Neymar just came into Spain, coming from Brazil, you will hardly see a game where Neymar doesn't do something, one or two things that is, oh yeah, it's eye catching, joga bonito, and all of
Yeah.
that. But look at Neymar now; he doesn't do it a lot. With time, with maturity, start saying, okay, this what matters more is the goal, getting to win the game, and all those things. And
And
so
longevity.
yeah. So now with England especially, it's like a traditional way of playing football. Move the ball around. The wingers, your job is to put it in the box, and then you have a traditional nine, head the ball in. That's how it's looking like. So Ronaldo comes in now to a Manchester United team that is already built, has a good foundation. They have a good history, and he can come in as he doesn't come in as the best player, but he comes in some of the best talent around him already, and he has to learn more from them, learning and adapting. That changes now a lot of those things. So when we look at that now, it brings us back to what is skill, what is talent, what are we looking at. So we won't consider Ronaldo as someone that left England because he came already
From
at
Portugal.
yeah with his skill and talent already. Now he just learned a different way of playing, so we will not put him in there. Gareth Bale, that however, that one I'll say okay, that's like there's always an exception.
Where was
He's
he?
one of those.
What played in his academy years?
Um,
Is he part of the Spurs academy?
he was he wasn't part of the Spurs
Mhm.
academy. I'm trying to if I can remember where he started
I
from.
think he
But
came
he
from
was
like a
young.
small Welsh team.
He was really young when he came into Spurs, and he was playing as a was a fullback, to left back when he started at Spurs, to eventually the midfield, and then now transitioning to a forward. But Gareth Bale,
Southampton.
Southampton.
Southampton, yes, thank you, Southampton. So Gareth is one of those. You always say it's an exception for every case. It's always an exception. He's
Yeah.
one of those exceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he definitely is. So you can say okay, but overall,
Overall, you're
Nah,
100% right.
you
You
won't
It's
don't
see
not
see it.
you won't
it's
see
not
many.
like
We talk about Jude Bellingham. Where did he develop?
Birmingham.
Birmingham.
He developed, at what age did he move to Dortmund?
I think 16, 17.
That's pretty much young.
That's oh yeah, yeah.
That's
You're still a child.
that's pretty much young. And we look at Dortmund as a whole over the years. How much talent has been drained from Dortmund?
I've been saying this.
Oh,
Dortmund has some of the best academy, I think, in roughly in the world. They've
I'd
developed
agree.
some very, very top
See,
talent.
so it goes back to what we're saying: the Bundesliga, the Dutch league. So you look at Ajax, you look at uh PSV,
PSV, yeah.
PSV.
you look at all these teams. Which this team, the Bundesliga? I'm forgetting the Red Bull,
Like
Rasen's RB Leipzig,
RB Leipzig,
Leipzig.
yeah.
Leipzig. Like, every year you say, oh, this is the best player that we see here. He's making noise. As soon as you take out that striker, you're already seeing someone else in the papers, and it's not just in the papers. You're actually seeing the result, and you're wondering, what was this guy? And then it's like they always plug in someone, they develop someone and put them in there. So Jude Bellingham, it's debatable to say he was developed in England before eventually doing well in Germany, but given Dortmund's history with young talent, it's difficult to give
Yeah.
that credit
Yeah.
to say it was England.
I mean,
So
it's the same thing with Jadon Sancho. He was a City Academy player,
yeah,
and then he, flourished at Dortmund.
Dortmund.
And now he's back in England and isn't even part
Yeah,
of the squad in a sense.
it's hard because our I feel, I mean, maybe it's just me not knowing enough of which players came from where, but you don't often see a lot of players from England go off into Europe and have these ultra successful careers. Like you said, Gareth Bale is the one
Leroy
exception.
Sané though is another exception, and he hasn't
Leroy
had.
Sané came from France to Southampton.
He was a City Academy player.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, he said I was thinking of Mane. I was thinking
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Mane.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was thinking of Mane. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sane
Leroy
would be
Sané. Yeah, Leroy Sané.
okay.
He's another
Yeah.
Leroy
exception.
Sané. Phil Foden.
Oh yeah,
Phil Foden.
Phil Foden.
City Academy. So yeah, I mean, so
There are a few.
there are a few. So definitely
But
exceptions.
I don't see Foden ever leaving England either. I don't see him ever leaving City. In all honesty,
This is another thing. Are some of these guys that we're naming, are they individually really good or just good in specific systems? For instance, would you say part of the reason why Jadon Sancho is struggling with United is because of the way they're being made to play? Because
absolutely.
if you're a player that thrives just in a specific system, I can't really say you're skilled. Yeah, you're good. You're good at something, but if you can adapt, you become a problem.
Yep. Which
So
is what we're seeing.
you become a
You
problem.
can't be a one direction player.
Yeah,
You gotta be able to do whatever job you're given for the situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
You may not do it at the highest level, but you can do it good enough to produce results.
Yeah, right.
Especially if you consider yourself that caliber of a player. And I think that goes down to part of the reason why the English national team has been struggling in international competition for a long time. They have all these players that their market hypes them up as talented and as really good, as world class. And when they get to the national team, you ask yourself, hold on, just off the media and off the noise, this is like an all-star team when you look at the English team.
Yeah, always.
How can't you win? And how come even when you win a game, it's like you struggle to win 1-0?
It's not like a dominant victory.
Yeah, it's not like a dominant victory. When you play against a team that is not really up to your level, yeah, you dominate them. Everybody expects it's a win.
I mean,
Now
I believe they drew to the United States in this last World Cup. That's a pretty.
As much as the United States, you say, okay, they're already. I mean, they're getting good. For England, that was a loss.
Yeah,
that's a loss.
They're a different caliber than.
It's a different caliber. So you look at all these big names and you wonder. So it comes down to okay, are they just? It's just media propaganda pushing it out there, and then these guys are just one system players that cannot thrive out of it. It has a lot to do. So because if that's not the case, look at France for instance, right? England has some players that play in the same team. France doesn't have as many. Their talent is spread all over. But when they come to the national team, they still dominate. Griezmann doesn't play the exact same role with France like he does with Atletico Madrid. And his role changes from time to time. Pogba wasn't doing the exact same thing with Juventus like he was doing with France. And it changes. There's a lot of things. Kante, you can see he's kind of fixed. Maybe there's more that adds to it. Giroud, um, Mbappe, things change.
Yeah.
They win. So you look at this, okay, these are players that, okay, you can plug them in any system, they're going to do something. When Pogba was in United, for instance, Mourinho wanted him to play in a different position. He had his position of preference. But even when Mourinho wanted him to play, as much as he didn't really like it, he was still playing there. And you could tell, okay, this is he's still a world class player. You take another player that, okay, it's the English team. If you when that happens with them, do we say that of those guys too? Other than the goalkeeper that is good, they've had a history of good goalkeepers.
Mm-hmm.
What else is left to show? They've had some great defenders, but the rest is just names, and that's just it.
Yeah.
You see a lot of
I-
individuals. It's just a lot of individuals. They're not like a team. When I look at England and I watch them play, I don't see the type of connection that you see with the French players
Don't.
and things like that. And it's crazy because, like you said, a lot of the English players play on the same team. You'll see pairs of players that play on the same club together. Whereas on the French side, they're all spread out. I don't think very, very rarely will you find more than two players on the pitch at a time that have played
Yeah.
together.
I think Portugal and Argentina are another great example of teams that play really, really well on a national level.
Yeah.
But most of their players are pretty spread out talent-wise across Europe for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think it has a lot to do with the management of England as well as the individuals on the pitch because you can't ever just, in my opinion, blame any result on just one side of that. It's always
Yeah, management has a lot to do so that you
uh,
look like the politics surrounding
Hmm.
the whole
oh
situation.
yeah.
I remember at one time, what was the previous English manager? Now it's Southgate. Who was before Southgate?
Mm, damn. I feel like it's right on the tip of my tongue. My brain wants to say Roy Hodgson, but I guess not. It's not.
Roy Hodgson coached the English team. I think it was in this era that I kind of felt like there were too many Tottenham players on the squad.
Mm. Yeah, with Kane,
Kai Walker was there at the time.
Walker.
Um, Kane is a definite call. Um, there's this guy that tried to replace Bill, as I would say. Forgetting his name, but he tried to take over the team. He kept getting called for the English team, but it was looking like other than Kane, Kai Walker to an extent, you ask yourself, why are these other guys in here and you don't call some of these players? England fails in was the year Portugal won
2016?
So yeah,
2016 the
2016.
Euros 2016. That's the year. That's the year Leicester City wins the Premier League, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Vardy was on fire, and every goal Vardy played for England, I think almost every game or every game he scored a goal, and he came off the bench to score. Harry Kane was not in the best shape that time, and I think he even had an injury, and he came back from the injury. He was not in the best. He wasn't the guy you would use at that point in time, and they still use Kane over Vardy. You had the arguably one of the best strikers in the world at that time in Vardy,
Yeah.
just coming off, he's still hot, coming off a great season with all the momentum and everything, and he's showing you in friendlies that he can still produce. He has his confidence in nothing is broken. Why are you not using him? That was part of the reason why I say coming back to what you're saying, the management, I think the politics surrounding it, which we may not know of, is really not ideal. That may be bringing them down.
Well, yeah, I definitely the politics is definitely, and that's been a problem not only for the English national team, but a lot of the club teams in England is just politics around certain players, their name. I mean, look at Man United and Harry Maguire, the whole saga of that.
There's a story that needs to come out. I'm still waiting for that story because I cannot believe how much, how long he has been played for Manchester United. First of all, 80 million was just, I don't know. I don't
Out the
know.
gate, wait.
It sounds like money laundering.
Yeah.
But that's one. I mean, I, I think to an extent, we've been criticizing him so much that we overlook that sometimes he was good with Leicester
With
and
us,
that
yeah.
he's
And
actually good.
England.
So he can play a game in which he's good and he makes that one mistake and he gets called on. We say he's a bad player. So um to his credit, I would say we are a little bit harsh on him based on that. And he's an
For sure.
easy scapegoat.
Yeah.
It's just the stars don't align for him because like, when something bad seems to happen, he's at the center of it.
Yeah.
The game is kind of manageable. He gets subbed on. That's when the other team scores. So it's like, yeah, Harry Maguire always there. But keeping that aside, there is something. I still feel like there's a story. I don't know. Does he know something about someone and he's holding someone ransom? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because okay, this guy, maybe the pressure of a big club is on him and he can't really perform with them because the way he plays for England is different from the way he
Very
plays for
different.
United.
Oh,
It's
very
different.
I think that has a lot to do with play style though, and that also goes back to how Leicester played. It was a much more slower pace, control, and compared to Man United, where it's a lot more counter attack based football. I don't think Harry Maguire can
But
play.
he should thrive in counter attack because one of Harry Maguire's strong points is his ability to push the ball forward.
Yeah, he is. He
As
is
a
a
centre
good.
back, so
Good shooter.
he should thrive in that.
He should
I'm
theoretically
thinking it's the name Manchester United. Like
could be very
you,
well could be.
the pressure is different. When you're playing on a mid-table team, for instance, the year Leicester wins the Premier League, well, he wasn't even starting that year. Well,
Yeah.
I was even on the team, but he wasn't starting. I know it was King. It was King and King was the centre back. I'm forgetting who the other guy was, but he wasn't starting. Now, okay, that year the target for Ranieri was 40 points. Management told him, okay, your target is get 40 points. You're still in the contract. He, by the time that there were how many games in, he had already gone past the 40 points. And they didn't really winning the league now was a bonus. But that's a mid-table team. And then now we see what happens. They win the league the next season now, they start performing bad. They need a wake-up call. What do? Scapegoat Ranieri. They fire the coach. But the fans were pissed. They were not happy about that. However, by winning the league, it's like saying this is something that is not a far-fetched dream. We can achieve this. So you set now a new expectation. And when they see you going far off from that, they feel like something is wrong. And then now they try to make changes. After that, Leicester City played some good football, but eventually they kind of died back down to who the rest of the world saw them as. Now you leave from that team, you come to Manchester United. From day one, you're expected to win every game.
Yeah.
Especially with that price tag.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the price tag.
He was giving captain armband pretty quick too.
The pressure just keep build, just keep piling. So maybe he's one of those guys that when the light shines brightest, he kind of fades away. He will thrive on a team that is not as good as Manchester United. Maybe just the wrong situation. And if that is the case, his agent and the team they need to work out something and let him go because at some point you'll be looking like he's just an excuse for managers to say, well, my guys were injured. I had to use Maguire, and that's why we couldn't win. So you can't blame me. And just let him go. Just let him go, and then that way we can now see, okay, what is he really good, or does he need? Sometimes he may need he may even need to go out of England and have a fresh start.
Yeah.
I feel like defenders have a better chance of succeeding out of England on big teams than in England, where every day the media is on you. Every step you take, anything you do, they're on you. Like the pressure is just it's beyond compare.
The media is harsh, not only in England but in Spain. They will tear you apart.
The media is harsh in just about every league.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you see it more. You see it more. It's not just the media as well, but it's the fan base of some of these clubs in England specifically are very, very not toxic, but they're very harsh.
Yeah,
They're very harsh. They're very harsh on their players. They're very harsh on their team whenever they're not. Which is why you see United the way they are. The media has been ripping them to shreds for years recently, and it's interesting to see some of these players that come in. And I was talking to my friend Daniel. He's a good longtime Man United supporter. He was talking about how Man United will always have to overpay for certain players because they are Man United and every team knows that they can just squeeze the money out of them.
Yeah.
It's always the case.
So
it's always the case.
You're already not doing well. It's already hard to bring in talent. I don't think their scouts are the greatest. They've only brought in a couple talents from, I mean, you have Garnacho, who's a good talent. I think he's got potential. And you have Greenwood, unfortunate circumstances for him. But you bring in these players with large price tags and you're already playing from behind because Man United the past, 5, 6, 7 years has not been Man United.
Greenwood wasn't homegrown.
Yeah, he was
He is.
homegrown.
He was academy.
Homegrown,
He was
homegrown.
academy. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like they're you bring in these players and they always have large price tags on them because of Man United in the name. And then you have the expectation of, oh well, you're brought in to make a difference. And then you have the expectation of, oh, you were 85 million pounds, and then oh, the team isn't doing well, so you're expected
I,
to.
w- I would want to disagree with you on that because yes, the name Man United kind of affects the price.
Mhm.
However, when you look at the players they passed on and the price tag on those players, and you compare with the players they brought in and how much they were willing to spend on the ones they brought in, it it contradicts your point because it's Man United. But at the same time, sometimes it feels like they go for a player that they feel has better PR than another guy because it doesn't even come to the football. Because tell me why, as a coach, you make demands. Say, okay, I have a need for a defender. I have a need for a midfielder. I want a striker. I want this, and these are the list of guys I'm looking at. And then the management says, "Yeah, we know you want these guys, but this is the guy we are getting for you." So it doesn't make sense. I remember when you look at when Mourinho was there, when Van Gaal was there, even Ten Hag, as much as we have our issues and stuff, there are some players that he wanted, United didn't get them.
Hmm.
Some players were gotten by City. Who did Arsenal get? But you look at some of these were targets
Was it
that
Rice?
this were. I
Was it
think
Declan?
Declan was one target, but these were targets that the coach wanted, but the team decided to go a different direction. Yes, you spent the big money, but not on the guy that was wanted. And you are United. Why not, if it's an extra 10 million, for instance, why not spend the extra 10 million and get the guy that the coach wants? Then get someone that comes in because you think this guy has a bigger name. You
Yeah.
bring the guy in and then now it doesn't make sense. If I'm the coach, I know who I want. Don't bring someone to me and tell me that make it work. If it doesn't work now, I know what I saw. I know what the scouts that work with me know what I'm looking for. So when they report to me and I analyze the player, he has the qualities I want to play in the systems I've designed.
Hmm.
If you bring someone to me that is just, yeah, he's good. He was good on his team. He was the man on his team. He's not a transcendent player like Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Mbappe, who can we even call this generation? Eden Hazard. He's not this type of players. You bring him, you don't expect magic to happen. So I put him here now. He can't play well with this guy. He can't play well with that guy. He can't play well in this position. His favorite position is this one, but I have someone I think is better than him on that position. So I'm forced to play him. That's another thing. I can keep him on the bench.
Yeah.
Now this is the only place I can put him, but he cannot perform in that area. So all these things now creates a whole problem for them. So selling the team be a solution? Maybe, but instead of looking at the Glazers, the owners of the team, they need to be looking at those managers. If the owners are enabling the management,
Hmm.
then now selling the team now be a solution. A new owner will come in, fresh ideas. You know what? I don't want all of this. Scrap the whole thing, and this is what I want. Then that's going to help. But one thing I'll tell you that doesn't really help, the former Manchester United players that are present-day pundits, they go a lot by bias and how they feel emotionally about this, about who is there, than the act addressing the actual problem. I'll still keep saying this thing. Mourinho would have been the best thing that happened to United if only he was backed by, I wouldn't even blame the management. He had the backing of fans, many fans, those who really know what's going on. But the United legends, if only they went over the hump of their battles with him when he was in Chelsea and how much he prevented them from winning, it's like they still carry that thing and it's like they're always at war. And then now when they're looking at him, they're looking from a different angle. And then now when you look at the way they were harsh on him and everything, they help the toxic climate that built around everything else. And then now they say, oh, he's not good for the thing now. And then now it makes the players now feel more empowered to say, yeah, we don't like playing this with this guy, to complain about whatever thing is going on. But look at the situation in Roma. The legends of Roma are behind Mourinho. Like the voice of that team. When Totti speaks, they listen. When he comes down and says, okay, we're supporting this guy, it's difficult to, no matter what bad thing you write about him, the main people that support him, they give their support. And every other player that looks at it and say, you know what, yeah, you know what, if we give our best to this guy, he's willing to die for us, we can do something. He may not be the best in some people's eyes, but while he's there, rather than tear him down, you know he has won. He you know he knows what it takes to win. Support him. So United's main problem, we might be talking about the Glazers may hold some issue, but those legends around them have created a monster in complacent players and a complacent environment that it will take a long time to get rid of. Um, Eric Ten Hag has a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. I disagree with him on so many things, but there's some of the things that he cannot help. And even the director of football, what's his name again? The guy that Ten Hag took over. Uh, who was the coach before Ten Hag?
Ralph Ragnick. No, not Ralph Ragnick. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
No. Ralph Ragnick.
Was
He
it
was
Ragnick?
the interim. He was coming
Oh,
in
I
as he
don't
was coming in. I think was director of football for United.
Yeah.
You may check it. I may be wrong on that, but he was coming in as that, and just to temporarily for
That's
Ten
what it
Hag to
was.
come in. So now even him, he's not able to. They're not really able to. The plan they had for the team is not able to. It's not able to be actualized because of all this that's going on. So that's how it looks like. But let me just go back to the initial question that was asked when we're looking at this thing. So we did say skill wise, Premier League is not top three, and I think I may have missed the question again. What's the question you asked again?
What league is the best league?
No, that was the
Most
first one.
talented. You
The
said
most talented.
Most
No,
talented.
no, but
Yeah.
there was the second question you asked after that. I think I answered that one already. The best.
Yeah, you did. Who else did I ask you? I don't remember.
Was it the United question? I don't remember what you asked or how we got
Oh
them.
yeah, I'm
Well,
drunk.
so best league. So best league that is going to be. I would say for a long time there was a time that the English league was the best league. The Isani was the best league. But for I would say if you look at the last 10 years, it has to be the Spanish league.
I would agree.
It has to
I would
be the
agree.
Spanish league.
Comes to just pure talent.
It has to be the Spanish league overall because if you take a team like Grenada and bring them to the Premier League, the only teams that will really give them problems are the big name teams. Like you can see the big five, big six if you want to, but they will compete with those teams.
Yeah.
They will compete with those teams. But there will still be a mid-table team in Spain. So bring Valencia in. And
Sevilla.
how do we see this in Europe? See the performance in Europe. Recently that England has really been doing something in Europe, but other than that, Spain, Real Madrid won the Champions League 3 times in a row. Sevilla won the Europa League 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like,
That's
what
the
else to
thing.
say?
And I've been saying this for a while. The Premier League is I think the most hyped league. It's got the most media coverage, it's got the most media facing exposure. But I've always said that something about Spain and the way that they play in Spain, the Spanish league is arguably the best league out there in the world competitively.
Yeah.
And you can tell in the Champions League. I think it was last season there was a couple more Premier League teams in the Champions League group stage, knockout stage, and round of 16 and
Yeah,
semifinals
it
and all
took a
that.
while. Eventually, they got there.
But consistently, it's always been a lot of the
Spanish league.
Spanish teams
Yeah.
that
Oh,
have competed.
Consistent.
absolutely. Yeah.
Not just Champions League, but
Consistent.
also Europa League
I mean, look at
and
like
Conference League.
I want to say like 2010 to like 2018, 19 era. I mean, it was basically just Barcelona, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, like in those semifinals, finals every single year.
You just said something. So when Barca and Real Madrid, the era of MSN, BBC, and during the time that Barca and Madrid were looking like the two giants in Europe, Atletico Madrid won the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is
That shows you how good how good they are.
Well, I think Diego Simeone is one of the most underrated managers. I'm not saying people don't think he's good. I think plenty of people recognize it, but for what he did in that era of La
Oh,
Liga, I don't think it's talked about enough. I think it's just
sure.
overshadowed.
Well, but the contract he was given mirrors what he did.
Hmm.
So like he's one of the most paid managers in the world. So
Yeah.
that has a lot to do. He has earned the right to be there for a long time, even if they lose or whatever, because he won the league twice,
Yeah.
2 times.
And to what you said previously about Atletico winning in the era of Real Madrid and Barcelona, I would argue Real Madrid is injury ridden right now. So, they have a lot of unfortunate injuries to a lot of their main players. But what's happening right now is Girona is top of the league in La Liga. Girona
No, actually, Barcelona just took
just
top
took it
of it.
back.
Yeah, today.
They
Regardless, they're
won.
going
They
back
Yeah,
and
won the
forth.
game. I didn't even, I didn't watch it.
actually it was ironically a Sergio Ramos own goal that
Ooh.
gave
Oh,
Barcelona the lead.
but
Mm.
like that,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You take a team who last season Girona were a mid-table team. They weren't top. I don't think they were even top
Uh,
six or top seven.
I think they were top half, but like lower top
They
half.
were roughly mid-table, and
Well,
now
but
they're
I won't
top of
get
the league.
I wouldn't get carried away by that, because we've seen when the Premier League starts, except for these recent times where you have these powerhouses that just it's almost looking like they'll win all games. When the Premier League starts, you look after like game week 5 like that, you're seeing a team like Southampton on top, Swansea on top. You're thinking, oh yo, this might be a good year for them. As things now, you start getting to week 10. So I
Yeah.
won't get carried with that right now. I really start judging.
It's
I
still
normally
pretty
start
early.
judging a league like how it looks like. The table starts taking shape after week 10.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see how week 10 now. It
Yeah.
now
Yeah,
starts looking, giving you a better idea of how it's eventually going to look like. So I won't rush into it. But I still do agree with you that it still shows that those guys are there. They're definitely competing.
and
They're definitely
even
competing.
the Bundesliga is starting to. You're starting to see more teams coming out and competing. I
Hmm.
mean, you have is it Leverkusen that
Yeah,
Xabi Alonso
Bayern
Bayern
Leverkusen they're
Leverkusen
looking really
is
good.
looking really good.
Oh yeah.
Which
So
they were looking really good last year. And what did
Since
Bayern Leverkusen do?
since Sabi Alonso took over that team, they've been
And what did they
and
do last summer? They backed him, and that's what I was going to mention on that topic. Is the biggest waste of money a club can do, in my opinion, is pay a lot of money for a manager, such as United have done, and just
well said.
don't back
Well
them.
said. That I don't you don't back him.
You're wasting all
Back
the money
him
on
no
that
matter
manager.
what. Like no matter what, back him. Because if management shows that we are behind the manager, in the sense that even if you were bought for 100 million, they can sell you tomorrow for 10 million without batting an eye. Think about it. If you're a player, they bought you for 100
mhm.
million, then they sell you for 20 million. Do you know how damaging it is to your reputation? It's
That's a good point.
damaging. Like it's making you like the truth like shit. If that message can be passed across to the player that no matter if you do anything, we're going to drop you. Rather be relegated than have you on the team. Now it comes to a point that this is a big team and playing here, the ice and I'd rather be here. They'll turn back in. But the moment you show that you're not with the manager, that's it.
And
That's it. Back him.
prime example, Arsenal with
Oh yeah,
Arteta. What first 2 years where they
There was a
were
lot of perseverance.
was just not looking good,
yeah.
and
He was really not looking good. It was really not looking good.
now you're kind of seeing his vision of investing in the younger players and getting more younger players, younger talent in the ones that he can kind of shape, and you're seeing it starting to take effect last year, rolling into this
And
year.
playing the system he has in place.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
that's a prime example of just one way that if what could happen if management backs manager, or if ownership
I'm telling you,
backs
like that's
manager.
just it. Like just back the manager. Yeah, like exactly what you said. It's the biggest waste of money to pay a lot for a manager, not back him, and you still have to pay much money to cut his contract simply because you're not happy.
because I mean, in the way the waste doesn't stop there, because then you're spending money on the players that you want as the owner of the club, and then as you said earlier, you're giving into this man going make it work. Well, if he doesn't fit in the system, now he's got to sit down and try to make up a whole new system if that's the route he wants to take.
And he's on the win. He's on the clock. Win now. Win now. Not just win now. Don't play boring football.
Hmm.
It's just a lot. Okay, then give me what I want. That's just it.
It sounds so simple when you say it. You're like, okay, you hire this man to do a job, but then you don't give him the tools to do his job.
And you hire him based on his profile because he's done it before. Oh, he did it before, but he was given the tools to do what he did
Hmm.
before. So the whole world knows. How can the whole world know something and you don't know it? The whole world knows that if you back this manager up, he's going to give you trophies. He's going to give you results. You bring him in, then you don't back him up. And then we hear managers saying things like he felt I think like I was scammed. Like whatever vision we discussed, once I came in, things changed. That's not what we discussed in the contract. So well, let the managers keep making their money, let they keep wasting. And I'm just happy that my team is no longer in that mess. So right now,
Which team do you support, Francis?
Arsenal, I've been with
Arsenal.
Summer
That's
for a
right.
long
That's right.
time.
That's right. That's right.
My hopes are not so high. So right now, I was happy with where we ended last season. How it happened, it was a little bit disappointing, but I was not as disappointed as I would have been if I was making noise all through that we were going to win the league. While some of my friends were saying we're going to win the league, I kept saying dial it down because we're Arsenal. So wait until it happens.
It's
It happens.
very, very difficult to snag that title. And as awesome, as amazing as some of these Premier League teams have played, Man City, it's so hard to take the title from
They
them
look
this
like
year.
they can use their second team and compete for the
And
league.
exactly.
We pretty much can at this point, especially like with what we have right now. I mean, they performed pretty poorly against Newcastle on I think it was Wednesday.
I still think that was just a chess move by Guardiola. It was like I looked at I didn't watch the game. But when I looked at the lineup, for just from the lineup, I said, you know what, that type of game that looks like I'm going to put these guys in, give this other guy some rest. I'm bringing in Grealish because he's come back from injury, so he can get some reps. Um, if they win, it's a bonus. If they lose, no problem. That's one less competition.
Yeah.
Now we can focus more on this because when you look at the history of Man City and some of these other big teams, they're competing for almost everything. That's one thing that happened to Roma last season. You're in every competition.
Yeah.
Soon now your players start breaking down because as you're going towards the end of the competition, you start meeting tougher teams. Now each time that if you when you draw, let me say you draw a team in the third division, second division, or a team even is in the Premier League but they're like down. Yeah, you know they might bring in their best players, but you know your B team can take care of that.
Right.
So you should do that. But if you're going up a team, a caliber of Champions League or even a Europa League team, you'll be tempted to put in your starting 11. Sometimes you may switch the goalkeeper, but 70% of your starting 11 would be your main starting 11. And you will still have some of your guys on the bench in case things are going down. Because you don't want to lose that game to that team. You see, so when you look at Newcastle is not a team we already know that these guys are coming in to compete. So you're drawing against Newcastle, you know Newcastle they'll bring in their top team because they know they're going to play Man City. So you come up with that type of team as if you're going to play Sunderland, for instance. It doesn't look like you're trying to win that game. It really doesn't look like it. So that's why I'm thinking Guardiola, he wasn't trying to win it. That's one less competition. Now it's three more. Might be because he's won the Premier League back to back, right?
3 times in a row.
No, two in a row.
No, they were that last year was a three-peat.
Oh, really?
So here's the thing. Not only did we have a three-peat, our under 21s and our under 18s also hit a three-peat.
That's cool. That's cool. So now look at it now going on for this one now. It's like making a miracle to happen. This will probably be one of the toughest Premier if they win it that they've won. They've lost a bunch of players. They've lost Cancelo,
Riyad
Mahrez,
Gundogan.
Gundogan was probably one of the biggest.
So I would say he was the biggest one out of the three.
De Bruyne is injured.
For a hot bit still. He's probably got about 2 more months, I'd say.
See, he's injured.
Rodri's out for another 3
Greece just back. So you see all these things happening like that. With all these things that are happening, you can't be in every competition, and you don't know who else is going to get injured. Stones might be having an injury that is likely to happen because that guy has been fragile for a long time. So you want to make sure that if the worst comes to the worst, you still have a squad to compete for the most important thing.
Well, right after the match, a reporter was asking Pep something about, do you feel disappointed about not being able to have a quadruple? And he goes, well, we're not worried about a quadruple. We're very happy with the treble. Referring to they're trying to repeat a treble this year. Is what he's referring to.
Believe me, if they lose, this was the Carling Cup, right? If they lose the FA Cup, he will still tell the same thing that the Premier League is more important.
Yeah.
So he would. I think it was just a chess move. I've seen managers do that do that in the past. They'll have to make at some point you make a decision. Remember, Liverpool did the same thing. They had a cup game against who was it? And it was around the time that they were playing the Club World Cup. They asked the FA if they could adjust the schedule for them, and they refused to do it. So Liverpool had to field in. It was almost there was most of the bunch of academy and team B players.
Yeah.
So
That was a
they had
few
to do
years
that.
ago.
So
That wasn't that long ago.
you have
Yeah,
if you don't play, you will be penalized. So you have to play. So you now make a business decision. Yeah, I'm going to rest these guys and I'll put these guys. It's a long season. It's really a long
Yeah.
season. So
And that's the point that I've been making, especially with all of these new competitions coming up, the new way that they're going to do Champions League next season. Depth will win you titles.
absolutely.
Depth will win you titles. And this is what I'm saying though. I made this point a few months back, I think, with you and David, is that a lot of these managers won't play their main players every single game. You don't play
Can't.
every single game to win because you can't. And so that's why you have that depth to be able to interchange. That's why you're starting to see City has incredible depth, which is why one of the main reasons that you see them winning the league when they do. Because, for example, Liverpool, Trent gets hurt. Boom, Joe Gomez. What's he gonna do? I do not like Joe Gomez as a player. I don't think he does well in that right back position. I think he's a natural center back,
Yeah.
but we don't have a right back to fill in. We don't have the depth. Whereas City, if somebody gets injured, you have De Bruyne get injured. Okay, throw in Bernardo, throw in Jack Grealish at the cam if you want. Like you have
Phil
the
Foden.
depth. Phil Foden, you have the
Julian
depth
Alvarez.
that if it's like a three-headed snake. When you cut one head off, two more pop up, and it's like where are they getting?
Rodri.
So
Rodri is one of our most pivotal players right now.
Yeah,
And him being
he
out
cost me 2 points in a fantasy.
of the red card. Yeah, no. Him being out for the game against Arsenal at the Emirates
That's
has
gonna
me a little on edge, but I don't think Arsenal are performing as well right now as they were. I'm gonna take that back.
that's gonna be
Actually,
an interesting game.
They're playing. They're playing.
Yeah, I mean, we've not had the best start to the season. Like
No,
Arteta, I don't know. He may be up to something, but I don't know how I feel about it because if Ramsdale was in the goal, I don't think we concede those two goals against Tottenham. Like, it was a strange game. We score right when we score, Tottenham equalizes. We score right, it didn't make any sense. Whatever thing he's doing,
it's a fun game to watch with the neutral. I'll tell you that. So much fun to watch.
and as a City fan, because you're seeing two
Yeah,
guys that
right.
are trying to
Going into that game, I was like, if these guys could just draw for me and still be entertaining, that makes this game perfect. And
Yes,
exactly what I got.
Which, by the way, is insane to see where Tottenham are. We thought early this season because of the loss of Kane, we thought that they were going to struggle, and
Son's
they are
taking
doing
that striker's
very
spot
much
very
the
well.
opposite. I think bringing on Madison has been a massive change.
Yeah, Madison he has been really good. I mean,
Really
I
good.
wasn't seeing this like the way it is. Now it could still be, earlier. Like I
It's
said,
still
it's still
early.
just
It's still
starting.
early. Yeah.
But let's give him his props. He has
Yeah.
been
Absolutely. I
really
mean,
good. He has been
He's
really good.
player of the month this last month.
He's
This
fit
every
into a new team, a new system very well. Now, granted, he's played in England for quite some time now, and he is an English player, so he doesn't struggle where you see someone like Darwin Nunez struggle, or someone coming in from a completely different league, completely different country. So he's accustomed to the systems that they play in the Prem. But what Ange Postecoglou has been able to do, they play very nice football.
But
In
they
my
are a
opinion,
fun team to
I
watch
like
right
the
now.
way that they play for now. But we'll see. Like you said, Francis,
Yeah,
it's still very early.
we're
Still
going to
very,
see.
very
We're
early.
going to
That's
see.
why I was so excited about the game too, because
Tottenham is Tottenham. Yeah, there's something okay. Like I was saying last season, I'm not bothered about City. I didn't expect City to win the Champions League because at some point I felt like they'll find a way to mess it up themselves.
Hmm.
And well, City won.
we almost dropped the
Lukaku
punt.
helped.
Yeah, Lukaku did help a lot. Yeah.
I was at his house. I was stressing hard. for that
Lukaku
game.
did help with that. Because I was like, yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Inter played really well.
Yeah.
It was such a shame to see that they didn't end up at least going into overtime. If that game goes into overtime, if
City loses.
Oh, I
City
think, yeah, I
loses,
think we
City
see the
loses.
game.
loses, 100%.
It's like it just comes back. It's like a mental thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
winning this one, I'll be surprised City winning the next like 2 of the next 4 or 3 Champions League. I wouldn't be surprised, especially with City not looking like the management not looking like slowing down and backing Pep up. The Champions League has been the most coveted trophy in CPC's trophies room.
Mm.
They've spent all this money, over $1 billion, since Pep got there. He has been delivering Premier League after Premier League. Yeah, it's nothing new, but the Champions League, giving that thing, I think right now, if there is no cap limit, if the FA doesn't regulate and say this, you say there's no cap limit, that owner will just be buying
Oh
anybody
my
that Pep
goodness,
just
it'd be
says.
Yep.
bad. It
He
would be
just he will
bad.
just be buying. He'll just be buying. Because,
And I'm glad there are caps and rules and regulations for financial fair play because I mean I don't
does it really
we
work? Do you think it works?
I think it does to an extent. I think it does. Okay, I mean,
It
let's
doesn't
look at
really work.
Chelsea.
It doesn't really work. I think it's more of like, hey, we're going to give you some room. Yeah, you've given us something, maybe not giving us something. We would like to give you some room, but don't exaggerate. That's just it. Then some other teams like, hey, remember financial fair play. Because there's no way to explain what the way City was able to get the players they got. Look at Chelsea.
Chelsea's a fire dump.
Chelsea needs to be investigated.
Oh, anybody who's paying attention knows that.
Needs to be investigated. What? How? All this talent, they can't find a goal.
It's
They need to be
wild.
investigated. They need something is wrong. Are they telling them not to play well? What is going on? That team needs to be investigated. They
They
need
deserve to
to.
be relegated.
Yeah,
So I
to
asked
spend the money that they've spent and not have any goals to show for it. Their only goal for the month is going to be a Nico, what's his
Nicholas
name?
Jackson.
Nico Jackson penalty
In the
kick
cup game.
Mm-hmm.
in a cup game. And if it wasn't for that, it would be something on the training grounds because they didn't have any goals. Like that can't happen.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Absolutely
So
makes no sense. Just it's bonkers.
I asked Tyler this last week. I'm curious to get your take on it. What do you think is harder to do when you win Champions League for the first time ever in the club's history, or
Oh
repeating
yeah.
a Champions League back to back?
Which one is harder? I would say winning the first time. Repeating should be, to me, it's easier. I think Guardiola said something like that, and I will agree with him because once you've been there and done it,
It's
you know what
you're
it
familiar
takes to
with it.
get there. But once
Mhm.
you've not done it, you may go to the finals 10 times in a row. You may think you know I to get to final, but each time you find yourself thinking, what did I do wrong? Okay, maybe this is how I have to do it. Maybe it's how I'm being told do it this way. Let me try this time. This one didn't work because you did this and it failed. So you want to do something. You have to do something different next time, right? They say what's the thing when you fail and you keep doing the same thing over and over because that's lunacy, right?
Mhm.
So you always think of changing something. So when you haven't won that first one, you may have done something the right way, and that's what will have helped you win it. But due to unfortunate circumstances, you lost. You come the next year, you have to do that same thing and win.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think because you didn't win, you did something wrong, so you will now change it. So that's why I kept saying that, like Ty and I said, if that game went to overtime, Man City will have lost. It will have come down to a mental
Oh,
collapse. Like, oh, there we go again. You see that kind of, oh, yeah, we'll go again. There's nothing we can do. We just can't win this thing. Um, but once you win it, that monkey is off your back.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's off your back. That weight is lifted. Now you're playing free. It's different. You're even scarier.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, you're going in, it's like you're coming not only as favorite, but now you know how to just come and big boy your way through the whole thing now and then win. So I think repeating is easier than winning the first one, as long as your players are healthy.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course. Of course. All right. We're already an hour into this. Let's touch on some of these topics we had. The first one that I threw out there was Messi versus Ronaldo, and this for me. So for me, like my true stance on Messi versus Ronaldo is that I don't think one's better than the other. I think they are literally in my eyes tied for the two greatest players of all time for different reasons, for what they do for their team, and I mean I think Ronaldo does have a slight edge because he's done it and done so much with other teams outside of Real Madrid, outside of Man United. He didn't win a Champions League outside of those two teams, but that doesn't say whether or not he had success outside of those two teams. I think his stats and the other trophies he has won speaks volumes to that note. Messi is he's just a different style of natural born talent to where, and then obviously Cristiano Ronaldo was born with a lot of natural talent, but he worked insanely hard. And you see not only with how he works hard, but the recovery he puts his body through, how much money he spends on that. That does a lot for an athlete's performance overall. Not every player can afford to spend that kind of money on their body. Um, for like I said, for me, there is no clear definitive king of football, if you will. Because I mean, and then obviously a lot of Messi fans immediately go straight to the World Cup as an example. Well, I think that's low hanging fruit. Like one competition to decide it. I don't agree with it. You can use Ballon d'Ors. The Ballon d'Or number is another example. I think that's been not rigged. Because for instance, Lewandowski deserved to win it.
We can definitely argue that there's been a bunch of, I'm gonna say a bunch, but there's been some Ballon d'Ors. You can say one, two, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
if you say there is none, then you're just being a hypocrite.
Oh
Because
yeah,
in
yeah.
reality, there's been a few that you will say, yeah, he should not have won it.
Mm-hmm.
He should not have won it. Someone else, like, is politically driven. Like
Very
some
much so.
whoever gave that thing was just a fanboy. There's no reason why he should have won it, and you can't make any argument for it. Um, that's just it. Because once you start making an argument for it now, and then now you say, okay, the other person checks all the boxes you've mentioned and more. So now what makes it you get shot? You get shot on it. So I mean, you did talk about the fact that one of the things that they look as a handicap is that Messi has played on one team. Let me ask you a question. Who do you consider the greatest basketball player of all time?
Good point. That's such a hard one. It's either Kobe or Jordan. Kobe or Jordan for
See,
me.
you didn't even mention LeBron, but
Eh,
many people argue it's Bron is two. Some people think he's the greatest, and
I think he's in the conversation, but me
yeah,
personally,
he's in the
yeah.
conversation. He's the conversation, but the point is, I think it's Jordan too. But Jordan became the greatest of all time playing for one team. We can't use that against him. We don't use that against him to say, "Oh, Jordan, you played just for this. We don't know what you could have done on another team." Granted, the difference is that the NBA is one league. It doesn't matter what team you play on;
Yeah.
it's one league. Now, football now it becomes different. I give Messi his props. So I also say, these two guys are the two best to ever do it. When I look from what I have watched from the time, so looking at just my lifetime, I would say comparing those two guys, I'll give the edge to Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is the best. I'll come as to why later on. But when I look at some of the tapes and just read history, I think Pele should be the best because I look at what he did, and even when we watch some of his tapes, it's like he was playing in the future while his mates were playing in the past.
Yeah.
He
No, I
was
know
he was
exactly what you mean.
yeah, he was a different type of beast. And then out of Brazil's 5 World Cups, he's won 3. I
That's an
know he had
insane
a team, but
accomplishment.
when I say it's 3, he played I think 4 World Cups. He won the World Cup back to back with Brazil, and then now the next year they didn't win. Pele was injured that year, and then
Mm-hmm.
following year he plays, they win the World Cup. 3 World Cups. So you look at it, say, that guy was the main ingredient. When he in his absence, you guys lost. He came back, he won. Same thing we look at the Jordan Bulls. The three-peat, he retires, comes back after 2 years. During that time, they don't win anything. He comes back, another three-peat. Yeah, that was the main ingredient. That's why that was the X factor as to why you were winning. So I would say Pele is looking at that, I'll put Pele, but just in my lifetime, what I've watched, Ronaldo, Messi. Now, why do I give the edge to Ronaldo? Which competition would you say is more difficult to win, the World Cup or the Champions League?
I would say the World Cup only because it happens only every 4 years, and you're playing with your national team, who you play with less than your club team. Maybe you're on a single club for a long period, a long span of time.
Okay.
Um, and I mean, again, Champions League. As long as you're on a team that consistently places in the top four in your respective league, you have a shot at that every single year.
Okay, let's
You
look
have
at this.
more of a chance.
You have Champions League. How many games do you play? For someone that gets to the finals, you have
And
six games in the group stage,
then you've got
and then now
7
seven
through.
in the second round.
Yeah.
So you play a minimum of 13 games if you get to the finals. For someone that gets to the finals in the World Cup, how many games do you play? Seven
It's.
total.
Oh, yeah. You're right. There's a lot less.
So it's already less games. Now, to qualify for the Champions League, how many games do you play?
The whole season.
The whole season, 38 games, right? To qualify for the World Cup, you just we say, oh, you don't play off with the off with your national team. It's still the same group. Most of the time, it's the same group. You still have friendlies and stuff. You go for international break, you still can play, right? So, and these are your brothers, people that you know, speak
Yeah.
one language.
Yeah.
You have it's easy to understand. But when you're with the club, there's so much you have to go through. Different things. Sometimes you may be from another country and the other guy is from another country. You guys are on one club, but you hate each other, and the bias might be in there, and you wouldn't want to pass the ball or do something. You won't play. You won't respond. You don't think you're that happy as you will be in your national team. Some players are like that. So there's a lot of those barriers to overcome. 38 games in a season to make it for the Champions League. Now, if your national team is one of those that are favorites, that what does that mean? There's a high chance that you always qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
And if you're playing in a region in which it's about three of you or four of you that are the best, it's an automatic yes, right? So when you look at that, it becomes easier for you on this side to go in. Now, going into the World Cup, we look at the respective teams, Argentina and Portugal. When has Portugal ever been favorite over Argentina in the World Cup?
I don't think there's
You
ever.
can search, there's none. Argentina has always been a favorite. Portugal has hardly ever been mentioned among the favorites. When we're talking about favorites to win the World Cup, we look at Germany, Brazil,
Spain.
Argentina. I don't know why they mention England. Some people will mention England, oh,
I
France,
don't know why
Spain.
Portugal isn't brought up
France,
as a
Spain,
favorite because they've had
Italy.
talent for years.
No, well, they've had talent, but they've not had like the way you think. They've not had that way. They've had decent teams. Decent team. They usually make it to the second round and all. But when we talk about favorites, we usually look at four teams. Germany till recent time that they've
Yep,
been
yep,
bad,
yep. They're
Germany was always there. Brazil was there.
France.
Argentina was always there. France
France.
will be there, except for that one time that even going into either one of the favorite, but that time that they had the issues that they had. But France usually lurking there if they're not there. Usually defending World Cup champions, they usually mention them. Spain, Italy, those guys are usually there.
Italy,
If
You
it
hardly
makes it.
once or twice Portugal might sneak in around, like they talk about seven teams, they might get in there. But usually those guys, Argentina is almost a constant favorite. So you already see that in that category, one is already expected to win, given those around him, and the other one now is going to be a massive achievement to win. Now, when Messi fans say Messi won the World Cup, I cannot be mad at that to say, oh, he won something, because when Ronaldo won the Europa League, I was one of those saying that let Messi show us something that he has done with the national team, because he has had a team that they have some of the best players in the world, and for a long time he hasn't done anything. Show me something with your national team. Ronaldo won with Portugal. So when they, I'll say, you know what, it's fair game. You want to say is that. But I look at it as the Champions League is the most difficult competition to win. Yes, your team might be the best, but you're going up against other teams that have been stacked to with the best talent to compare with yours.
yeah,
So you're not head and shoulders above anybody. So now you're going up against those guys, and we all know that when you play one game with someone, they say broken clock is right twice a day, right? So if you're playing, it's just one game. That one game you could be off that day and you lose. It doesn't mean I'm better than you. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
The
yeah,
Champions League format, they say home and away. If I beat you home and away, there's nothing you can say.
yeah. You can't fight that.
But if I beat you just one game, you can say, you know what, if we were to replay this game, you are going to lose it.
Which happens
For
often.
instance, we can argue that we can say if they replay the final, Argentina, France, France is going to beat Argentina. Right? If they replay Portugal, Morocco, Portugal will beat Morocco. Morocco played well. You can't take that from them.
Yeah,
But if that game was to be replayed, I guarantee you that Ronaldo doesn't start on the bench. And there's certain decisions the coach made that he would not make. And Portugal will win, and they will win. They'll have a comfortable win, but we will never know,
yeah,
right? So that it's 7 games, and it's just one game elimination. That's it. That's it. But the Champions League, I have another chance. It's just like the NBA. It's a 7 game series. So when one team wins, we clearly say this team was the best team because we had a whole series in which we went back and forth. Yeah, I can have an off game one day, and yeah, you beat me that day, but I'm clearly better than you, and I will win the series. So that happens. So the Champions League is the closest we can have to that. That's a 2 game series, and then the best team will always prevail. Except in the finals, we will know, but that's it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The best team will always prevail. So Ronaldo won the Champions League 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. 4 times in 5 years.
Yeah, that's an insane accomplishment.
That's it's crazy. Ronaldo led the Champions League goal scoring for how many? Was it 5 years in a row or was it 4 years in a row?
Something like that.
Something like that. And the numbers are crazy. He has the highest number of goals scored in the Champions League. The second is still him. The third, he is there shared with I think Lewandowski, Benzema, but he's still there. The fourth, he's still there. 17, 16, 15. It's insane what he has done. What he has done. I think when he will retire after some time, people that like to go back and look at history, that's when they'll appreciate what he has done, including Messi fanatics. They'll be like, yeah, this guy did is crazy. Messi is 35 years old playing in Inter Miami, and we are seeing him being game managed. What's that telling you? Physically, he's on the decline,
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying talent. No, talent is still there. His game is
Yeah,
still there.
his body's just getting old.
His stamina is going down. It's going
Mhm.
down. What was Ronaldo doing at 35? He won the Champions League at 35. I think he scored 16 goals that season. He was his Juventus highest goal scorer, and he played in the last 10 years, and he played there for 3 seasons,
I know, yeah. That's
scoring
a
over
lot.
100 goals. That's an insane stat. At the age of 37, 37, he was Manchester United's 38. Manchester United's highest goal scorer.
And player of the
Third
month.
in third in
3
the
months in a
Premier
row.
third in the Premier League.
Yeah. At what age? Play when it's normally we won't think of it. Normally, once a player is hitting 33, 35, once they enter the 30s, we're already thinking they'll soon retire, right?
Yeah.
He's beating the norm, just like what LeBron is doing. These are guys that have invested their body, like you were saying, and they found a way to. They're strict on it. But even that, there are some players that are disciplined, but age still catches up to them, and they can't perform the way these guys are performing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You see some of these pundits that at age mate with Ronaldo. There's no way that they're just playing charity games now, left and right. They cannot play. They cannot compete with these guys. But Ronaldo is sitting there scoring at a high level, doing what he does, and he gets criticized for doing what he is supposed to do, score goals. You say, okay, you don't want him on the team. Show me someone that is night and day better than him at that position that you can say for a fact that yes, I have an argument why Ronaldo should be on the bench. You don't want him because you think that, oh, the other guys will feel like they will be obliged to pass the ball to him. They'll be playing. No, no, no. When something is right, you don't change it. Rather than trying to change Ronaldo, who coming in, he scored, and he's the main reason, or part of the reason, or like the main reason, or he was a big part as to why United was not even in the second half of the table. You cannot count how many games he built them out. And you look at it, you say, okay, this guy, he clearly can still score. Let me build a system around him.
Yeah,
Let me build a system around him.
It's not even in the league. It was in how many times in the
The
Europa
national
League?
team.
Well, in the Europa
Europa
League, how many times were United down, and the only reason they
Actually,
got
Champions
points?
League. Actually, Champions League was because of him.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at the Atalanta game. The Atalanta game where they went down and he had to come back and win that game. They were going to be out. It's insane. It's crazy. It makes no sense. So I know that a lot of PR has a lot to do with this thing. The way the media covers both of them is clearly different.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with something. I know that Ronaldo is an outspoken person. I know that generally people in the world don't really like people that are
That's a big piece.
boastful or confident in what, like you know you're good at something, and when you say it, people are like, you shouldn't say it. Let other people say it for you. But he puts the pressure on himself. He goes out there and perform. Messi has not done something that I will look and say You said this thing and you went ahead and you said something and had delivered. I've still not gotten over the fact that Messi promised he will do everything for the Champions League to come back to Barca. What did he do 2 years after? Leave and go to PSG for more money,
Well,
right?
I think that that situation is a little. You can I don't think you can just chop it up to that because there was a lot of financial issues going on at Barca. Because
Let me wait. Okay, we're going to get to that point, but before getting to this part of it, how much money is too much money? At some point, like how much money do you have? You say it's too much money.
oh no, and
Messi for his relationship that he has with Barca and the things he says about the club and everything and what the club means to him, right? He was already the highest paid player on the team. The team was in crisis. In guys like Iniesta, Piqué,
Yeah.
they cut their salaries. They're not making anywhere close to what Messi was making.
Frankie De Jong.
They accepted a pay, frankly, they accepted a pay cut to help the team. Messi, even the pay cut that they were asking him to take, he was still going to be the highest paid on the team,
yeah.
right? And Barca is still paying him till now, right? And when you look at the difference in how much Barca was proposed to pay him and what PSG offered him, it's not much. So you mean to tell me that you couldn't stay for that? Then he says, well, the reason why he left was because he doesn't understand the direction in which the club was going. That like he doesn't understand whatever what vision they have. But when we look at the end of the day, it's a game of numbers. Whatever you say, if you let me say if you took less with PSG because you said okay, you like the project, it will make sense. But after saying everything you've said, you lost woefully in the Champions League. 8-2, that is like
Yeah,
goes to haunting me.
that's
And then you lost again. Then some of the biggest remontadas, other than Barca winning, we're going to look at the history of Champions League. Barca has been on the receiving end. Look at the Liverpool
Liverpool
corner
Bayern.
taking quickly. Like how does it happen? Look at Roma. Yeah, they beat Roma 3-1. Was it 4-1? They go and lose in Rome.
yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Like
You're not wrong.
Manola's goal. Like it doesn't make sense with you, Messi, on the field. You can go and search even now. You won't find one. I won't say one game, but you won't find a series like that of Ronaldo games in which he was on the field and they lost by that type of a margin. You won't find it. Atletico Madrid, what happened? They beat them 2-0. Ronaldo said they will come out to Turin. Hat trick. I am Mr. Champions League.
That
They won.
era of Ronaldo, the noodle hair Ronaldo era,
And then you have guys comparing Ronaldo now and Messi now, forgetting that you should
Yep.
compare what Ronaldo was doing
the
at
prime.
at Messi's age,
Doing over
right?
there.
So
David, Jay.
Whoa. So you know as well as I do, all growing up, I was a bigger Ronaldo fan than I was a Messi fan. My running style is modeled after Ronaldo. I is very straightforward, leaning. It's a powerful running style, and I thankful to this day that I mimicked it at a young age.
mhm.
For me, I think my view of it started to shift. I'm gonna blame Pep personally.
It's more about let's say
I'm
flair,
gonna blame.
cosmetics. It's just cosmetic, like flair. Well, watch Messi's like oh, what it's like watching it's like going to a classical music concert and just sitting there now. The way everything is harmonized,
Mhm.
that's what you see. Pep, like the way Barca was playing. Sometimes I would say, even if I were a ref, some things I'll let it go because you may forget that you are the ref and you become a fan. The way they were playing was just beautiful football to watch. So now people get captivated by that. And that one is boring. It's too straightforward. I don't like the way that one is. This one is captivating, and then now that bias comes in, which I understand. But you cannot deny the results. Look at the results. Look at the work that they've done. So it was laughable. Messi's 35 years and he's already breaking down. Ronaldo at 35 years was breaking records.
Yeah.
And he was still playing top tier football. Messi's in Inter Miami. Yeah, we can say, okay, going to his retirement and all this sort of things like that. Well, so if you want to say, what was Ronaldo doing? Or you want to compare what
The same age.
that age. Go
The
back and say,
age.
okay, what was he doing at that age? He went to PSG. That's going to go down in history as one of the I'll call it the most disgraceful project or the biggest loss. How come it's not even talked about the way it should? If Ronaldo was the one that went to PSG and lost the Champions League, the way PSG lost
Yeah.
Not
It
even
was never
with
official.
that squad,
not even just the way
that
they
they had,
lost. It's also what he did with PSG the first season.
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely
Nothing. He was
So,
non-existent.
He really didn't do anything his
so
second season either, for
if
being real.
Hit
if
him
if
average.
if Ronaldo did that, you won't stop hearing about
Oh
it.
yeah, no.
You won't stop hearing about it.
Ronaldo gets a lot
They
more
say,
a lot more hate than
yeah.
Messi.
They say,
He's more
100%.
outspoken.
he led the league in assists. He led 20 assists. Someone still has to score. Put the ball in the net. Okay, we know if you're capable of scoring and leading. Okay, Champions League, they needed your Champions League. You went there thinking you had a better chance of winning with PSG, right? And the reason why PSG brought you in wasn't to win the league. You scored a goal in the final game of the season to win the league. You, Messi, before you came there, PSG was winning the league with about 7 games left to spare.
Mhm.
And then you barely won the league with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe.
Kimpembe, Verratti.
It makes
just
no sense. It makes no sense. It's not like we're talking about Champions League. The French League, you barely won the French League. You barely won the French League and you're celebrating. Champions League went out in the round 16. You didn't even get before you came. Someone would say that you coming to PSG kind of took PSG back because before you came to PSG, they made the Champions League finals, they made the semi-finals, they were in the quarterfinals. Maybe round of 16, round of 16. I mean, you went there to win. When Haaland came to Man City, I remember of which game. I forgot which game it was. The interview after the game, post game, then now they said they're talking about um, him winning, um, like process of Man City winning at the end of the season. He said Man City has been winning the league. They didn't bring him in here to win the league.
Yeah, no, that's
You
not
see,
what we got him at.
you didn't get Haaland to win the league. We're trying to get the Champions League. So even him is aware of the fact is what we're going for, and he's gunning for it. Messi, you come in, you know for a fact Champions League is what they're looking at. You hardly find, apart from people like me and a few others, that will say, I don't think PSG was going to win anything. As long as Madrid was there, I was looking at Liverpool. Liverpool is one of those teams that even AC Milan that they can be having a bad season, and if they're in the Champions League, they have a high chance of winning it. There's some
They can
things
get hot at the right time.
like it comes back to the question of is it easier to win back to back or winning your first one? When you haven't won the first one, it's tough on you. But when you have won, you know how to win. That's why there's some teams that will say these guys just know how to play this competition. When time comes, well, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Bayern, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Milan, they know what they're doing. They will find a way to they know what they're doing. So I was never looking at PSG as a threat in any way. But still, although I also look at them as that, I was expecting them to get at least to the semi-finals. That kind of, based on this talent you have, do this. Now, Messi, this is your first time out of Barca. There's been an argument that says you've just been you're a system player,
assistant player. Yep.
right? You grew up in this system. The system was built around you, and that could be part of the reason why he was having issues with winning with Argentina because each time that they go, but it's different. It's not the same system.
Mhm.
So now it takes him a while. That's another thing. Ronaldo is the only player playing currently that has scored in every international competition that he's played. That means Messi has played he has played, I think it was a World Cup without reaching a goal. It makes no sense. So now you're out of this. You're proving everybody that said you cannot do it out of Barca, right? You're winning with Inter Miami. Who cares about that one? Like I think I was doing that thing. Messi, I still think Messi is Messi anywhere he goes. But for them to be dominating with a team that was at the bottom, dominating the way they're dominating right now with him on the field, like you see day and night, Messi on the pitch and Messi off the pitch anytime day and night, is an insult to the MLS. It shows that MLS is not really going anywhere. It's not going the way you think it should be going because these guys are supposed to be competing to show that yes, the talent is coming. We've come a long way and we are competing.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where retired European players are coming and dominating us. So they show that, but they're not showing it. However, going back to that, still Messi is not able to do anything with PSG. You could say maybe he wasn't happy there or whatever. End of the day, football is football.
Yep.
Play first, let's see the result, and then you say you are not happy.
Yep.
But you can't lose with that. You had Neymar and you had Marquinhos, you have all these guys, and you still lose.
Shamefully.
I'm sure all of us here play FIFA. When I'm playing the online league, almost every opponent I meet is using PSG.
Yep.
Now, one
Right?
thing I think,
Like it's mind-boggling. That is like You assemble a super team and you can't go out of the first round. And who did you even lose to? By the way, you didn't even lead. You didn't even lead your group. That's the first thing. And then who did you even lose to in the second round? It makes no sense. Who are you? How did you even lose? Like, are you a fraud? So Messi, I will never take away from what he has done. When I look at Ronaldo's accomplishments, people call him the tap-in merchant. Do you know that in Messi's world record-breaking season of 92 goals, most of his goals were tap-in still? We don't even realize that Barca's system of play is the way they're playing. It's like it makes it easy to just score a tap-in, pass in the box, and then just hit it in.
You
That's
see it
it.
with Holland and City.
Yeah,
It's around the same time.
we don't see it.
Pep.
Let me see another mind-boggling stat. In Ronaldo's 5 Champions League that he won, or you can say in the 3 peat that he won, he took fewer penalties than Messi took in one World Cup. But he's often nicknamed Penaldo,
Wow.
right?
Ronaldo.
That I had no idea.
Okay.
That's wild.
That's why. And he was scoring 17 goals, 16 goals. They say when the Champions League, I think it's the third or is the fourth one. He scores about 5 goals. He scored 5 goals in the first half of the Champions League, the group stage. So you had a bunch of guys say, "Oh, Ronaldo, like the goals are not coming." He scores 12 in the second round. Just think about it, like when it matters most, when your team needs to win, when the goals, that's when he's scoring. There's another stat that when I saw it, I was surprised to see it. He's of the time of all the you take the top 10 best goalkeepers in the world in the last 10 years. They've considered more goals from Ronaldo than any other player.
That I have seen.
I'm pretty sure Ronaldo scored more goals against Neuer than most people in Neuer's division in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, in the Bundesliga.
And they play
Yeah,
Every
most
game.
strikers against him. So
Yeah.
just think about it. Like Oblak has considered 4 hat tricks in his career, all from Ronaldo.
Yep. Ronaldo owns Oblak. He owns that man.
See, so it's what I'm saying. There's some of these things you look at it, it's insane. It's crazy to think about. The Ballon d'Ors already, we can agree that there's a lot of politics involved in the Ballon d'Or. So as much as it counts when measuring who the best is, we can't take it
I
into
think you
serious
got to take it with a
consideration.
grain of salt.
Yes, we take it with a grain of salt. So everything else surrounding it, you say, no, this guy did it. With Manchester United, if Haaland wins it, which I think he should win, he will only be the second player to win the Ballon d'Or coming from the Premier League. Ronaldo was the one before him.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy to me because, like you said, coming back to that point earlier where you were talking about how people compare Messi to Ronaldo right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to compare Messi to Ronaldo when Ronaldo was the same age. And a lot of people, I don't know if they just forget. I mean, we've had debates plenty of times in our group chat with you and David where you guys forget the greatness that was Ronaldo when he was Messi's age. And I've said it multiple times, and David's argument was the whole behavior that Ronaldo is this flamboyant and crazy and all that. If you ask me, and you can't, you have to look at them in different angles.
Why should his behavior why should the out of the pitch person influence your decision about football? We're discussing football. What did you do with football? It's like, I mean, one guy was driving a car, I didn't like the car, so I don't like him, so I don't think he's better than this guy.
Yeah, no,
It makes no
You can't.
sense. It's just football.
He's there when you need him, and he is. I mean, it depends on how
factor is there.
he is.
He is the clutch factor.
He is one of the most clutch players of all time. And if you look at it, when you compare them, you have to compare them in a little bit of a different light because, yes, granted, they play two different positions. Messi plays more of like a central attacking, central forward. Ronaldo plays more as a winger.
That as
Ronaldo had to leave from playing midfield. By the way, just cut short.
Mm-hmm.
The year he wins the Ballon d'Or, Ronaldo scores, I think, it's 42 goals total, playing for Manchester United as a winger. Ronaldo wins the Golden Boot with 31 goals as a winger in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk about the Premier League. We know how difficult it was to score back then. In the Premier League, scoring eclipsing 30 goals, not as a striker, as a winger, as a midfielder, double digits assists, and 31 goals.
Yeah, that's quite a tally.
That's something that we're not even thinking. I remember back the 20, he scored 25 goals. Oh, it was like news. He scored 25, 31 goals, 31 goals. It's crazy. Go on.
If you take away all of the alone, just alone, if you look at what Ronaldo's accomplished compared to what Messi's accomplished, Ronaldo has been able to change and adapt his game to the teams that he's been on. It's not easy to go from Premier League to La Liga, then to Serie A, and now over to Saudi and be able to do what he's been doing. Now, granted, he's a little bit older now since he's gone to the
And
Saudi
he's
League,
still doing
but
it.
he's still doing it. And to be able, you saw exactly what happened. And this is the argument that everybody made, more so than
They played today,
Messi's.
right? He had a goal and an assist.
I don't know if he
Yeah,
played.
they
Did they
played
play
today.
today?
They played today. He had a goal. Talisca scored, and then he had an assist. He had an assist for Talisca's goal, and then he scored the winning goal.
More so than of the two greats, which one has won a World Cup? The biggest argument has been, okay, if Messi leaves Barcelona, is he going to be the same Messi? And you saw that he was not. Whereas my argument has always been, when Ronaldo has been able to change and adapt his game to the different, not just different managing styles with different managers, but different leagues where teams were not built around him. And then he had the really bad injury, which then he had to change the way he played. You didn't see him doing as many
Yeah.
fancy flicks, as many tricks. He
Mhm.
wasn't running as
He,
quick.
he
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 wasn't as
transformed
explosive.
his game
So he
completely.
had to completely shift his identity as a player.
And
And you don't see Messi doing that.
Well, so one thing on the whole position, I think their the path and the way that their positions changed over the career, almost the exact same, just on different sides of the pitch. One was a right winger for a bit in that MSN era.
Ronaldo's actually played both sides.
Well, Ronaldo,
He's
yeah,
played left and right in the
yeah,
midfield.
yeah, but I'm talking like where they primarily have played. Ronaldo was that left winger. Messi was that right winger. They have both played in the middle. One more as like a cam center forward. One as a main striker. And even Messi was a main striker when he first started playing for Barca, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, so the thing is that the way Barca was playing, Barca was using a false nine. But prior to him, Eto'o was a main striker. Then Messi was right winger. However, the system in which they were playing, it became more of like a false nine, if you can look at it that way. Because yes, you look at the lineup, you say, oh, Messi playing this way, but Messi was playing more central because he'll get the ball, he'll float in it to pull out defense and stuff like that. You even hear in that documentary where it says where he was talking, he says when they were playing, they developed a system in which was helping Messi score more. And then now they had a discussion which we're talking about the future. He spoke of Guardiola. Guardiola was trying to tell him how to play, and then he's like, with all due respect, you were a good player, you're not a great player. You cannot tell me how to play when I play, because what he was doing was working and it was helping me score more. So they figured out whatever they figured, but that's how they came up. Then now Guardiola comes up with the first nine system to put Messi in a position where he knows, okay, this guy can score more. So now he can focus on doing that, getting those goals, and of course you had a masterclass of Xavi and Iniesta behind him. So it was just something else. So all of that helped. I would say Ronaldo had to adapt more than Messi had to adapt.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because just, you know what, we need to score more goals, move this way, and then that was it. He had to really, because he really had to do it. Ronaldo leads the Champions League in assists. Some people say Messi has more assists than Ronaldo. Why has he not had more in the Champions League? He leads the Champions League in assists. He leads the Champions League in goals, all time. I'll talk about this all time. And unless Messi comes back and play the Champions League and then actually play maybe for Man City and then now gets this, we don't see anybody breaking that guy's record.
If Messi would have went to Man City instead of PSG, well, here's the thing. I think it would have actually almost looked worse on Messi because you basically would have just been going from the system you just lost to the system you want. You're
I
going
don't
back
think
to it
so.
with Pep.
I don't think so, because if he went there, it would look more like a Pep factor.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I think he would thrive in it.
Oh, yeah, he would have.
He's going to
He would have
try,
thrived so
because
well.
the talent between, yes, PSG is good, but the talent between, when you take away the big names, there's no depth. It's zero. The talent between City and PSG is day and night. It's day and
That's
night.
why
So
PSG is never gonna. They're not gonna win a Champions League.
this is another thing that goes against Messi. You don't have the talent, you can't have Messi. Even in Inter Miami, Messi plays his first game with Jordi Alba and Busquets,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? right?
Busquets assisting
Good.
Jordi
Now,
Alba.
there's also been, let's say the first two games, like, a couple of games was like the wow Messi factor, where you had to opponents finding themselves watching rather than going up against him. So it was that distraction. However, he still needs some pieces. Take away Busquets and Jordi Alba and just play like that with those guys. Can you figure out with them? Of course, he's still going to score goals. He'll still do things.
Yeah.
But would they be that effective? Still, I think if Messi goes to Man City, he will thrive there because of the talent around him. However, throughout their careers, Messi has had the superior talent to Ronaldo, national team and club. When you look at those that he's played with, those that he played with, apart from the BBC Real Madrid, those Real Madrid teams that they were doing something, it was more about the team thing. But even when you look at the names, Barca, you look at World 11, it's Barca and Madrid, but there was at some point a lot of Barca than
More Barca than
Madrid.
Madrid.
It was like
Sometimes
a
it will
whole.
just be Ronaldo in there, right? Just Ronaldo in there. Then you look at Barca, Iniesta, Xavi,
Puyol,
I mean,
PK.
at the
Piqué.
time, the national, the World 11 was basically just the Spanish national team, which was
Yeah.
primarily Barcelona. So I mean,
So you see, so
yeah.
those type of things. So you say, okay, everything that you achieve, what happened when you made the promise? Once Iniesta and Xavi retired, Emerson was still there. I mean, Suarez, Neymar, you guys were still there, but that midfield got broken and they were
Well, I
retired.
think Neymar had left.
No, he left
Around,
after that.
was it?
That was the year of the remontada. After he said, hey, hold on, what's going on? Was that midfield was broken? Because one thing I kept saying that thing about Barca is, I don't care who we kept buying strikers, forwards. I don't care who you buy forward. If we don't address the issue in the midfield, Barca is not going anywhere. And that had been our nemesis for a long time, the midfield and the defense. We're not going anywhere. Now they started addressing, you said the team is beginning to take shape. Last season, things didn't go well for us in the Champions League, and then got knocked out. You looked at what happened. We had injuries. We had injuries on those key areas, and then we lost those games. Now, by the time that the team will take shape and take back shape, we eventually ran and won the league. But it's giving you an idea of how it's going to look like going forward. So this season is more promising. As long as we stay healthy, we can do something. But going back to that, whenever Messi has had the talent, that's when he has done something. Now, whenever Ronaldo has had the talent, he has delivered. And there has been time that he doesn't have those guys around him. He has less. He's figured out the way to produce results and do something, and such that you will never look at him and say that this guy was absent. No, answer the bell. He gives that feeling of, I am here. We are going to win.
Mhm.
But Messi is like, okay, I'm here, but who else is with me? Who else is there? You see, it's two
I
it's,
see. Yeah, I
it's
see
two
where you're coming
different
from.
two different types. Okay, if we were to look at it as basketball, right? Ronaldo, other than the health issue where they take care of themselves, Ronaldo, I'll compare him more with Jordan in the sense that
See, I would
they
compare him
feel
more to Kobe.
Mm-mm.
it's the same thing. Kobe and Jordan, they're the same plus. It's like they feel like they can do it. They feel like they can
I
do it.
think Jordan had more
Then
around than Kobe did.
no. I'm not talking about who had more around. I'm talking about the impression the player gives, the way he plays. It's like,
Okay, yeah,
I
I see
can
what you're
do
saying.
this thing. They always feel like Jordan has a saying that he has never lost a game in his life. And the only thing is that the clock ran out. That means if you beat him, it's going to run out. So if there was no clock and you keep playing, he will eventually beat you. That's his mentality. It will tell you that I'm in here, I'm going after it. But Messi now has more of the, compared to LeBron, it's more of the, I need this piece, I need this piece, I need this piece to work.
I see what you're
I'm
saying.
great on
I
my
see what
own.
you're
You
saying.
see, I'm great on my own, but I
Yeah.
don't think I can do this thing on my own. I need these guys. That's why I'm going to pass the ball here. That's why I'm going to ask for the team to trade for this guy. This one is not enough. Sell this guy, bring this guy, or I'll go and join this other guy. But Jordan is like, give me the ball, let's play. I'm going to win this thing. When Jordan was with the Bulls, his rookie season, where he gets injured, and then now they try to keep him coming. He wants to play. They say, nah, we are going to tell you what we want to do. They're trying to tank so they can get a high draft pick, right? Trying to tank. Jordan said, that thing is not I'm going to play. They say, okay, since you're forcing your way to play, we're going to limit your minutes. They put him on a minute restriction to play. What does he do? With that limited time that he has, he still goes on a tear and drags the Bulls to the playoff. Refuse to drag him to the playoff. They go, they get bounced out in the first round. I think they get swept, whatever. But they play. What does Larry Bird say? That was Jesus. That was Black Jesus. That will play. Yeah, we lost. You lost, but your opponent does not look at you and say, "Yeah, we won because we had more talent than these guys. If this guy had the least amount of help, we're done." That's the impression that he puts in his opponent. You see, and then you look at down the years. The moment now you're saying he had more talent, think about this. Pippen comes in, right? When Pippen comes in his rookie year, it's not like Pippen is not the Pippen that we know, right? And when we hear the stories, even Pippen will tell you Jordan has a major part to play in who he became.
Well, yeah, no, the way that
The
Jordan
way
is
he
in, like
challenged
a
him, like in practice, and then he helped Pippen grow into that, right? And the year before they win, they go to finals against Detroit. When they lose to Detroit, Pippen has the back injury, and they can't win. They can't win that season, right? Okay, it goes. The next season when Pippen is healthy, then he makes the All Star. This is Jordan playing for his first time with an All Star player along him. They win. Not only do they win, they go on to repeat, right?
Yeah.
Later on, who do they add now? Okay, they
Dennis
added
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman the second to repeat. Now, you say, okay, Dennis Rodman was a rebounding machine, like he was great in that. You can consider him an All Star in his caliber in that regard. Other than that, right? How much help would you say he had? And how many times would you say, okay, he really was really asking for, he was known to really asking for help? Management did their thing. Maybe once in a while he'll say it would be nice if we get this guy, but he was focused on whoever you give, we are going to figure out a way to win. We'll build this thing and we'll win. He will build this thing. But LeBron, yeah, let guys who did ready made bring it to me. Bring it to me.
He builds his own super team.
Remember the AD saga where he comes on and he tweets and he says, where's the wash bomb that he's getting bored? Where he's openly pushing for his teammates to be traded because he wants to win now. There's nothing wrong with winning now. Of course, they brought him there to win. But at the end of the day, I'll compare him, like I say, him and Messi, I'll put them comparable as in who am I going to war with?
Yeah.
Then I'll put Ronaldo, Kobe, Jordan in one bracket. Also,
and that's why
I'm going to win. Just give me the ball, I'm going to win.
And that's why, like, especially when I was younger and like when I first started getting into football as a whole, that's why I was so attracted to Ronaldo. I saw that mentality on the pitch, with the passion, the way he played, the way he was yelling, not only at his own teammates to
even himself, like yeah.
And same thing with, I mean, as you said, Jordan and Kobe. That's why I've always been more attracted to them than Jordan as a player, because they've got that mentality. You know, it's the mentality an athlete. Like my parents
You cannot
installed
train
in
that
me.
mentality. Yeah, it's like I want to win, and this is what it leads to. When you listen to Kobe, Kobe talks about even Jordan. Jordan talks about was Kenny Smith that was saying the thing. He said when they were playing, I think it was in high school or college, I think high school or college. When they're playing pickup, he's like he's going against Jordan. He knows he's going to take the ball from him, and then now he said he said it one time around that is that Jordan can dribble with his left. The next time that later on now they come I think was it college no, was it college or the NBA? But the next time that they meet and then now he begins to win. One day he reminds Kenny Smith about the thing that when you said that thing, I went and started walking on my left. So whatever thing that they find that something is wrong, they will go and they will work on the thing.
They won't let a weakness be
They
exposed.
won't let it. Okay, it's a weakness. Okay, I need to work on this thing and get better. Kobe the same thing. He talks about the amount of work that he puts in and how much better he wanted to become. We talk about Ronaldo transforming his game. Thierry Henry he gave a great breakdown already on CBS about who he considers a better dribbler. Some people look at someone that showboat, does a bunch of step overs, move left to right, do all these things to the ball. Yeah, it's cute to see, but it's not going to win you any game. They look at that guy as a better dribbler than the other guy that's classic. Left, right, just going through cone drill and going to it, right? So Thierry Henry said he'll look at a guy like Eden Hazard as a great dribbler because these are guys that they're dribbling to the goal. Messi falls in that category. Messi is not flashy. He's just I'm going that way, left, right, cone drill.
Cuts.
go and drill, turn around, straight, good. He's just straight business, right? So you look at someone and say, okay, that is a skill doing like that. Now look at Ronaldo, his awareness in the box, his ability to know where the ball will fall, and being there to finish. That's a powerful skill too.
It is. No,
So
it's very.
when people say this guy is a tap-in merchant, you ask them that, okay, when that guy is not playing, how about the other guy that's in there? Why doesn't he score the same? If it's easy to score the tap-in, why don't you score it? It comes down to that skill, that ability. Haaland has
Yeah,
it.
Holland's a
He
great
knows that.
example. He
He
knows where to
knows
be.
where to be. So someone says, oh, Haaland doesn't have goals out of the ball. I don't care about it. He's able to score. That is a skill.
He's a classic number 9.
You don't
What his
recognize
job
it. I look at people that underestimate that your football knowledge is just social. Like you don't understand it. You know nothing about the game. Because if you understand the game, you will appreciate that skill. And Pep definitely appreciates it. That's why he wanted him. Because at every point in time, when you look at Pep, looks at his lineup as in, I think last season one of the things that Pep said his team is what you can say close to perfection. Why? Because that had been the missing piece in his team. And I look at it as if there was any truth to the interest of Man City any truth to Man City having an interest in bringing Ronaldo before Man United did so, if Ronaldo was plugged in there, City would probably be thinking of Haaland as a future project or bringing him on the bench. But Ronaldo will ask whatever thing Haaland scored, double it, because
I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say no, but I
it
think he
will
would have
have
scored
been
more.
it will have been insane because it's not like Haaland is falling back, tracking back to defend. First of all, the way Pep plays, I like his the strategy in it teaches you to be responsible for your position. It's like maintain your position and you play within a zone where you don't have you won't find Haaland dropping deep in defense to come and help to come and pick up the
He
ball and
has
go back.
started doing that. He in at the end of last season, and it's been showing at the beginning of this season. He actually had, and I think I completely contribute that to Pep.
No, like
But
no, like corner kicks and like those are different. But I'm talking of within the play, you will hardly see it. Like, it will happen. Even it will happen. Any team will happen. But Pep is big on stay in your position, and he has a few players that have the freedom of moving anywhere on the pitch.
yeah.
Sometimes it's one player, sometimes it's two, but the rest of you stay in your position. So having a guy like Ronaldo, Pep will know that, okay, Ronaldo, if I maximize 60 minutes, give him 60 minutes to play where he can go at full speed, then he can come out now 30 minutes and plug in somebody else. I play like this, there's no way that we do see me he doesn't score at least 2 goals or we don't get 3 goals. That's enough to win the game, right? Pep is going to do it. Pep is not foolish. He's going to do it. Do I think Pep has some bias? I would think so. And that may be the only reason why he may say, you know what? I think I like Messi more, and
I mean,
I've built something. If I bring in this guy, I know what this guy is going to do. So you know what? Let me leave it. But other than that, if change Ronaldo's name to somebody else, unless he never had to do with Messi, Pep will push for Ronaldo, and the world will have seen something scary in there. Because
trust me. When those rumors started really churning about Ronaldo to City, I was drooling at them.
did you hear what De Bruyne said at one time when people were trying to get on Ronaldo's head? He said if in an interview he said if Ronaldo if he played with Ronaldo, he's going to have more than 20 assists on Ronaldo only.
I'd
And
agree.
remember hearing that.
I'd
you
completely
heard,
agree with that.
the
I
thing,
did hear that.
and
Yeah.
his reasoning was it's simple. I'll put the ball only where he can reach it.
I completely
You
agree.
see, you see a midfielder that knows that this is a dream for a midfielder. A striker that if you feed the ball to him is a guaranteed goal.
And a player like De Bruyne who can put the ball
Oh,
in.
No,
I mean, can
that
place
team,
it wherever.
you would have seen something absolutely
it will have
disgusting.
been,
I
We would have
think
won. We would have won the Champions League before Holland.
he would have shattered just.
it will have been
He would
unfair.
have shattered more records. He would have done. Oh man,
It will have
the
been.
things
It will
that
have
would have
been.
happened on that team.
I would have had no
Right
choice
now,
but
the-
to be a full-fledged
will
Ronaldo
have-
fan at that exact moment too. Oh my goodness. I would have had to go through the internet and just scrub anything of me, anything of me saying
Nah,
anything other.
it would have been unfair. It would have been
It would have
unfair
been
because
ridiculous.
I believe Pep will have maximized him playing about 60 minutes a game. The people have said, okay, let's bring him for one season because Pep is not big on an old player playing, having a long contract. So he'll have been like, one season, let's bring him one season. Win. You know what? Let's try again another season. Win again is okay. This is good enough. But what he would have done with one season in Man City, just think about the fact that he went with United, a team that could barely feed him the ball, a
Yep.
team in which they had games that they could have won. Bruno has the ball. Ronaldo is wide open. In fact, his teammate is wide open. No, forget about Ronaldo. Another person is wide open. Bruno won't pass the ball because he's trying to go for glory and then he misses it. And then now, in all of that, chaos, he scores 28 goals. Imagine how many he would have got if he went to Man City instead, where Pep says, "You
He
play
scored
your
at least
role.
50.
You play your role. You see that guy in there, feed him. Do that." And then that's Pep saying that. Then you have now guys like De Bruyne that is openly telling you that now, if I have that guy, I'm giving him the ball. I'm finding him. How many goals you think it's going to be scary to think about. So when it comes down to that thing with Ronaldo, Messi, at some point I came, I said, you know what? We get consumed comparing both of them that we might not realize it. We are not appreciating what they are doing.
Hmm.
And soon these guys will retire. Football will not be the same. We'll start missing them and wish we would have. So I've I'm saying here, once in a while we still joke about the thing and all of that, but after that, I'm just saying I'm not going to be debating. I'm done debating who is better than the other between Ronaldo and Messi. Because right now I've had time to appreciate them. I've watched them and everything, but right now I'm just going to appreciate whatever thing they have left.
Yeah,
And then I'm just going to put if you think Messi is the best, you have the right to think so. Ronaldo is the best. To me, is the best. Messi is also the. I'll just say the two of them are the best players we've ever seen. Those are the two goats. So I always just say Messi is one of the goats. Ronaldo is one of the goats. I'll not say this one is exclusively.
Yeah.
If I'm forced to choose that, I say okay, I'll give the edge to Ronaldo. But those two guys is just those two guys because it's not just what they've done in football and what they've won, but the fact that the two of them were able to share that stage
Hmm.
for 10 years, we've had players, prodigies come up. They say, oh, this is the next Messi, this is the next Ronaldo. All of them came and someone even went into retirement. Why these guys are still playing and still playing at a high level? What they've done is not to be overlooked in no way. And I think when they retire, FIFA should give them, I don't know, some special award. Maybe I don't know, maybe name just like how in basketball we have in the NBA we have what we have in football we have the Heisman Trophy. In basketball we have
Yeah.
the right now we have the Larry Bird and the Magic just for the MVPs, East and Western Conference. We have the for the MVP is Jordan. I think give it a Jordan.
I mean, you can even equate the Football
The
Hall of Fame.
yeah, all those things like how do they call the NBA championship again? It just came off my head.
I can't.
Bill O'Brien, the Bill O'Brien Trophy. So
Yeah.
so also like football should do something like that. Maybe change the Ballon d'Or to either Messi or Ronaldo. If you don't do Ballon d'Or, you can do World Best. One of these things, like these guys deserve something.
I
They
personally
deserve
think I
something.
don't think anybody.
Pele was
A
given
separate type of award. Yeah.
Pele was given the Millennium Best Player Award, right? Millennium Best Player. He was given that one, so at least he had something before going. These guys, while they are alive, when they retire, name something after them. Yeah. FIFA, like name something after these guys. Name something after these guys. Like however you do it, figure it out. Like these guys, they need to be immortalized. The people that are becoming 50 years from now need to remember what the world does not have to forget what these guys have done in football. It's
They've both
insane.
changed. They've both changed the game in their own respective way.
Yeah.
I don't think a single other person, because I know there's players on each of these teams wearing these numbers. I don't think anybody should be touching that 7 for Madrid and that 10 for Barcelona
Shouldn't wear
the
it.
second they had left. The fact that there's already people that have multiple people on both sides who have worn those numbers, I think it's a little disrespectful. Don't get me wrong, I understand numbers. Why are you being difficult right now? I understand numbers are, a big thing and the meaning of the numbers and the positions, but a lot of that has also slightly dissipated from us. Why? Why are we doing this? Get out of here. I think the meaning behind the numbers has heavily dissipated in the last 5 to 7
Yeah, it
years.
has.
So I
Correct.
think for that reason, retire those numbers.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to say from football in general, but I think that's a little bit of a
No,
stretch.
that's
But for Barca and Madrid, gotta put those numbers down.
yeah,
Can't
I agree.
tarnish that
Well,
if you will.
I'm telling you. I mean, I agree with you. Just that if it was basketball, I think they would do it, but football has a different.
It's a different
Like
It's
thing.
not
numbers
even
represent something. Like it's more about more numbers, more about position. Yeah, you said something. Right now we've come to a point where it almost feels like positionless football, where you see somebody wears the 5 jersey but he's playing forward. And you're, I used to
Right.
think 5 is centre back, 4 is center
Yep.
back,
Yep.
2 and 3 left and right back.
1 is
8
goalkeeper.
is 6 is CDM, 8 is central midfield, 10 is second striker, this thing 9 is striker, 7 and 11. So it's one
It's
is
a culture.
goalkeeper.
It's a
So
culture thing. So it's like it's hard for me to like confidently be like,
it,
"Do you need to
it
retire
yeah, it's
those?"
difficult.
But
It's difficult,
I think for
and
those
you can
two,
also argue that if you want to say that there have been some. I don't know so much about Madrid, but for Barca, they've had some incredible people that have won that 10
That's the
and
thing.
that jersey. So you say, okay, why didn't you retire for this guy?
Yeah, that's
but
that's the
who
You came
problem.
to
been
this
the
guy.
best
Like,
to wear that 10 for Barcelona? That's what I'm.
If it was any other club,
it depends on how you're looking at it because Messi is the one that has stayed in Barca for the longest wearing that 10.
Yeah.
Romario played for Barca.
Yeah.
Who else wore the 10 again that plays for Barca?
Ronaldinho,
What I was gonna say,
Ronaldinho.
yeah,
Ronaldinho.
yeah.
Ronaldinho. And we know,
Because that's why Messi wasn't. That's why he was third. Yeah, he was 30 when he first joined Barcelona.
yeah,
Because that's why he went back to 30 when he joined PSG.
Ronaldinho, we know who Ronaldinho was, and it was just more about lack of discipline that he chose. But we know that when it came to that thing, the ball, it was something else. So you would make an argument and say, nah, you know what? We didn't do it for this guy, we can't do it for you.
Mhm.
But something should be done.
Yeah,
Something has to be done.
I don't think the retiring of the numbers, and if it was any other club, I think they would. But with a team like
Like I
Madrid, with
said,
a team
I
like
get it. I
Barca,
get why they don't.
eventually,
They're
not
bigger
that,
than the players.
yeah, and
Yeah.
eventually, not that there will ever be another Messi or Ronaldo. I don't know if we'll ever see that again. We'll see variations of it, but nothing quite like it. It's tough for teams like that who are constantly going to have the next Messi, the next Ronaldo, to
Although,
retire those numbers.
did
But I
we
agree,
ever
they should
I would say
immortalize them in some way or another.
we are saying we
name
don't
the
think they'll
stadiums
be.
after him?
Yeah, they can do that. I think that do something like that in
The
Argentina
Spotify Messi
for
Stadium. It's
Messi.
got a nice ring to it.
I think they'll do something like that in Argentina for Messi and something like that
Sporting did it too.
In Portugal for
Sporting
Sporting's
has the
third
jersey
kit is
Yeah.
Ronaldo's
brand,
Ronaldo's brand.
CR7.
But I think Portugal will be doing something like when he retires for Ronaldo. But I need
Like a
FIFA. I
global,
don't need their home
I
countries.
hear you.
I
Yeah.
need
yeah,
FIFA because
a global award.
yeah, a global award that kind of say the Ronaldo days, the Messi days because. Oof, I still don't think any of these guys got to what Pele did in his time, right? And also, the competitions were not as
Different.
many as these ones
Yeah.
now. But Pele scored so many goals that some of his goals are discredited. When they try to discredit and say, nah, they won't count that one. That's how good he was. But the 3 World Cups, you cannot take that one from the history books. So it's what Pele did is insane, and I did not watch him. That's why it's difficult for me to say
Mhm.
I'll put this. So from the information I have and the tapes I've watched, and I look at this, that resume is scary. So some people probably say will never be another Pele. I would say Maradona came close, but was nowhere near that. Maybe the drugs issue was the issue, and the issues and stuff that he affected. He could have surpassed. We would never know. We think Messi has eclipsed Maradona. I don't think so. I don't think so because what Maradona did with Napoli, what he did with that Argentina team, like so we say your first is usually right over. Like what Maradona did, it's it's maybe it's just the impact. The impact was bigger than what Messi did. Maybe. But I would say Messi and Ronaldo are the closest I would say have come to what Pele has done.
The only thing with Pele for me,
I don't think anybody is getting to any of those guys.
the only
Mbappe, Mbappe is on a streak where he is scoring and doing all these things, but with money being a deciding factor in some of his decisions and the way he's beginning to make it, he's beginning to become more of a politician than a player.
Yeah.
I don't see. Give him, let me say, maybe another 5, 6 solid years. Mbappe will be going down. He will go down in decline.
if I think a big issue for Mbappe specifically is the fact that he hasn't left PSG. If he left PSG by now, he was on any other big European club. I think he's not only going to progress
If
more
he
as a
left
player.
PSG, he would have been in Madrid.
That's the only. That's the only.
But I
That's
feel
the
like he's
only
used Madrid
location.
as a bargaining chip, as bait. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah. To
I
get
think
a bigger contract.
it's like telling his guy, hey, keep pushing out that pay. I'm going to Madrid. Like, hey, this guy knows Mbappe. Maybe he has real information. The PSG will be like, you know what? It's better act quick. Hey, Mbappe, come, don't go to Madrid. We'll give you this contract. Take. So, okay, that's it.
They came back out again recently and they said, well, we're confident on keeping him. I'm like,
Oh yeah. That's the reason why he
I'm
accepted.
so sick of
Well,
that saga, dude.
yeah,
So
they
sick.
said I think they had like some handshake agreement where he's going to extend his contract to 2025 because it was, hey, if you don't want to extend your contract, let's better sell you right now because we know or we're going to keep you on the bench. But they had some agreement. Um, and as you can see, it's like maybe he wanted us to get rid of a bunch of players that he didn't want, and then he wanted his guys back. I think he was getting tired of hearing the Latin Americans speak Spanish,
yeah, right.
especially after the World Cup. Like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the French people are something else. They're something else. So now he's more about he just wants his friends around him. Maybe he'll stay in PSG. I mean, we'll never know. But looking at the situation in Madrid now with all these injuries and the glaring need for a number 9, Mbappe may be looking at it as, yeah, these guys will give me heaven and earth to move there.
I mean, I don't. I think if he's not careful, I think they go after Oshiman here, like this next summer. They
Right
can't.
now is the best time to do it. Like
Oh,
January
I think
window.
they should have gone after Oshiman this last summer. I think that
No, no,
if
no, no. It will have been difficult to get him because you are comfortable decision, right? After this team, what Napoli did, January window, winter transfer, Madrid table the offer.
Yeah.
Table the
Yep.
offer.
Now is the best time.
Now is the best
Now is
time.
the best time.
Take advantage of it. Get
All
it
right, I want to wrap up this Messi Ronaldo because we still have a couple things else to talk about. I will admit, I think I'm back more on the side of Ronaldo. Just there's a lot of good points made tonight. A lot of good points made tonight. I kind of realized like where I started off on that whole debate when I was younger, and I'm like, damn, I'm kind of.
All that time that I've spent arguing with you and David
I'm
about this
I'm gonna
topic.
blame Pep and David. David's very persuasive. He's good at
Unbelievable.
persuasion. So let's have a little chat about prime Paul Pogba versus Jude Bellingham in his current state.
Real
Who
quick
are
though,
you gonna pick on your team?
Francis, how much time are you willing to spend? Because I know you.
We can make
Yeah,
these last
but
two a bit
I don't want to
quicker.
keep
It's
you here
also
if you need
10
to.
o'clock.
Let's keep going.
Okay, all right, then we're good. That's all I need.
Cool.
Just want to double check.
Perfect. Um, who are you picking for your squad? Prime Paul Pogba or Jude Bellingham right now?
I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go Bellingham.
Take away any of your thought. Prime Paul Pogba, and there's no sign of him like declining the way he did.
But it doesn't matter because that's how he as a characteristically as a player. I'm not gonna say he wasn't serious, but he doesn't
He's
have
not the ideal professional.
he doesn't have the discipline that Jude has, and that discipline is the reason that I'm picking Jude over Pogba. I'm not picking Jude over Pogba because I think Jude is more talented.
Okay, so you do think Pogba is a more gifted player?
Pogba is definitely the more gifted player, but Jude, I like his leadership and I like his discipline. He's a very disciplined player. He will do the things that you need him to do day in and day out. Where Pogba, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. You get some on days, you get some off days, you got some arguments. You don't have that solid structure in the locker room. And so that's why I'm picking Jude over Pogba. I'm taking Jude's discipline and consistency over Pogba's not.
So personally, that discipline, attitude, and the way you conduct yourself on and off the pitch, that plays a very big like factor into what I consider as talent. Because I've seen it all the time. I've seen it countless times with combat sports. Being a wrestler all my life and watching it closely, people are insanely talented naturally. I mean, they don't have to practice, and they're just good at what they do, but they don't have that discipline to do the extra hard work outside of their
That's where
actual
that's where the
matches.
saying comes, saying that hard
Hard
work
work will
beats
beat
talent
talent
if
every
talent doesn't
single
work hard.
day.
Yes, if talent doesn't work hard. But see, here's where I'm going to disagree with you on the argument is you can teach discipline and you can teach hard work and you can work on those things. You cannot teach and you cannot work. Well, you can work on talent, but that's not something
You
that's
can
taught.
teach.
I
You can
disagree. I
teach.
disagree with that one.
Yeah, you can
You can
100% teach talent.
talent. People are talented in different ways, but you can teach someone to do something. You can teach someone to be disciplined.
No, yeah, you really can't. Like somebody's got to want to be disciplined.
If you
That's the
if
mindset.
yeah, if you are disciplined, right? You may not know how to do something well. You may be disciplined. You may be doing something wrong within your discipline, right? But you're a disciplined person. I can reshape it. I can help you. I can point your focus somewhere else, right? Now, but if you're not, you're someone that is naturally distracted. No matter what I do,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be distracted. I can help a little bit, but there'll be that one time where you need to be something and it's going to still kick in. You'll be distracted and you'll lose it. So I cannot teach you discipline. You may not know, let's say, you may not know how to play a sport, right?
Mm.
But you know how to follow instructions. I can teach you the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? If
I
I
see
can
that
tell
side
you
of the
do
coin as
this,
well.
and the more and the more you practice, you're just repeating the same moves, right? The more you practice, you get better at it. That's why we go back to the thing of we were talking about what do you call talent? I would call guys like Muller, Cruz, Guti, all these guys. We say they're good two-touch players, right? Two-touch will take you anywhere in the world. It can take you to the world best stage, right? You don't complicate your game. You stop the ball, you have a good first touch, you pass the ball, you work on your first touch, you work on your passes, you shoot when you have to shoot, you run when you have to defend, you do all these things and you put your heart into it, right? Those things can be taught, but I cannot teach you discipline. I cannot teach you how to stay and burn the extra hours on your own and do something. It's like who you are when no one is watching you is the real you. If everything you do is when you're being monitored, when you're being told to do something, all those things, you're not a disciplined person. But if you're a type of person that you know, okay, well, I have this objective, I have to wake up every day at 6 in the morning, and make sure I'm done with this thing by 6 and everything, so that by this time I'm in this place. If you are that person, when nobody where you can discipline yourself towards something, where you can say, I won't eat this because it's right now it's not good for me. I'm on a diet right now. This is not good. Nobody's watching me. I'm still gonna eat it. Even if it's in the fridge, I won't touch it. Right? I'm not going to watch TV now. I won't stay up too late. I won't do this. I'm getting a lot of weight. I'm going to stop drinking for a while and stuff like that. I'll just what I if you can do that without anybody forcing you, right? You're good. Those things cannot be taught. Cannot be taught. That's why people that need a lot of supervision are people that are not disciplined. You need supervision, it means you're not disciplined. When you're growing up, yeah, you need supervision to help you and everything. Those are the when you're learning those habits. Now, if you're a disciplined person, now when you get to a certain stage, if you're a disciplined person, I can teach you anything in the world. Anything in the world. If you are not disciplined, it's a waste of time. You'll be talented, you'll be skilled. Your skill will take you, let's say this is the top of the mountain.
Mhm.
Your skill will take you through the gate to the foot of the mountain, maybe the first or second level, and then now your indiscipline will kick in and you will never get to the top. You see, so that's just it. And we can look at it with a whole bunch of players. How many Brazilian talents have we had that we've said, if this guy was disciplined, where he could have been, if this guy where he could have been.
I can give you 4 players right now.
Sport is a discipline. So any profession that makes it to the highest level, I give you your props. You have to be disciplined to a certain level. Now, when we're talking about being disciplined, we're comparing you to your peers, to those of you that I'm not comparing myself to you because you were more disciplined than me to be there. It takes a lot of discipline and commitment to say I'm going to wake up at 4 in the morning and go and run when nobody's looking at me, right? I may be disciplined in my job and this, so I cannot compare myself with you. And that's why people that athletes, when they retire, anything that they put their mind to, any skill or trade they want to learn, they really do it well because they've already built that hard work and discipline. Even if it's some of them, even the lazy ones. So now we're comparing them now to their peers, and then now we look and say, this guy is not disciplined, right? We say, this guy is a party animal. The guy that almost all coaches say he's the greatest player they've ever seen. They say injuries destroyed his career. Nah, it was the lack of discipline. R9, Ronaldo. If Ronaldo was disciplined,
He would probably be going down as a goat.
what he will have done, people will be looking at it and telling stories. They'll be telling stories about the thing as if he's already dead while he's still alive. That's how
Yeah,
that's how
no,
it will have been.
100%.
You see, because it came to him effortlessly, but the lack of discipline made him complacent. It makes them complacent, right? You've heard stories about Eden Hazard. that you have his teammates from Nice even saying that they'll come for training. Mavuba was talking about how training, he doesn't do anything. He's just sitting there, like he's just lazy. He doesn't care about anything. Game day, he's going to score and they're going to win. Do the same thing in Chelsea. Now they pay back in Real Madrid with the injuries and all those things. You see, like at some point the payback is going to come.
Yeah.
So now
it
the
catches
lack
up.
of discipline catches up. It catches up real quick. So I'm going to disagree with you on that one. You cannot teach discipline, but you can teach
I
skill.
think you can't
can learn a
you
trade, a
can't
skill.
teach discipline, but human beings can change and decide that they want. But again, that comes down to the individual, and if they want to
Still,
make those
it still comes
changes,
down to you cannot teach it. It comes down to the
yeah.
person.
I understand both of those arguments and where
Oh,
you
I
guys are
can't wait to
coming
hear
from.
this.
They're both
I
no,
can't
they're
wait to
very
hear
good points, but I think the choice comes down to what do you desire. A lot of players when they get into the league, it's not I believe that you can teach discipline. You can take a player who just from personal example, just as a personal experience, I've never been disciplined with just some of the things that I do, waking up at 6 a.m., reading and doing all this stuff,
But
right?
that came with maturity.
Of course, yes, but it came from a desire to change the current situation that I'm in.
That's what we
If
just said.
and the problem is a lot of these players, I
Did
think,
somebody teach you that?
teach me what?
What you just said. You said so. Your changes came from a desire to change a situation, right?
Hmm.
So now you realize, okay, I want to change the situation. What do I need to do? I need to make certain adjustments. Nobody taught you that. That's what we're saying. It, that's something that cannot be taught. It has to come from you. It's either you have it or you don't. If you're not displaying that ability, right? That doesn't mean you don't have it. When you wake up now, when you know you have it or you don't have it, it's that time when you come at the point in life you say, I need to be at this point and I'm down here. Something needs to change. What do I need to make? What do I need to change? Maybe you don't even know what needs to be changed. You talk to somebody, advise you that do this, do this, do this. You listen and you start applying those things. That comes from you. The person gave you the tools, but they can't force you. Like they say, you can take a horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink
Yeah,
water,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yep,
They
yep.
gave you the advice, they gave you the tools. Now your ability to be disciplined kicks in, and you discipline yourself now to do those things, right? So like the things that you're doing now to be successful, you've disciplined yourself to do those things. Nobody taught you the discipline. I can teach you how to do something, but I can teach you how to be disciplined. I can advise you on what discipline looks like, right? But if you're not disciplined, you will not be disciplined. That's just it.
I see both sides of the coin. I still lean on the side that you can teach discipline. It's just do the players
Give
have
me
the
an example
desire?
of teaching discipline.
An example of teaching discipline.
How
It's
how would you teach discipline to an individual? That's what I would like to know, actually. Sorry to like.
how would I teach discipline to an individual? It's
Where
tough
did this
because
shit come from?
yeah, this came on.
It's a cat. Like,
Yeah, I know, but he jumped down like.
and then it started rising.
Hey,
Dude,
dude.
where did this come from? He shared a whole quote. The way I would teach discipline, I don't know. It's a tough question because
It's
that's
a
what
tough
I'm
question
working
because
on.
you can't.
It's yes, you can. If it all stems from the choice and the desire to want to be different, I believe.
No, you don't.
And
No. You're not answering the question. Tell me, how would you teach discipline? Okay, let me put it in a better way. Give me a scenario of discipline and tell me how you teach it to someone, Jay or myself. So say, okay, you know what? This is a situation. You can give an example. Okay, this is a situation in which you're in this thing and you're going to get to this point. This is how I'm going to teach you how to be disciplined, and then you give the steps. Give me that one because what you're saying is repeating what we are saying, which you're disagreeing on. By saying that it comes from something coming from somewhere, from where, from that person, is something that is not taught, which is what we are saying, right? You cannot teach it. So if you say there's both sides, that means the side in which you can teach. Give us an example of how you would teach it.
I guess I see where you're coming from, and it's something that has to happen from within. With which, yes, you can't teach that desire from within, but it would be trying to teach someone from doing the small things and kind of building that momentum. So starting, for example, what
Eventually, you're just gonna talk yourself into doing these
Do you
things.
know what
yeah, I'm gonna
you're finding it difficult to get the words out
yeah, yeah.
because it doesn't exist.
Mm.
That's just it. Because right now is that you put yourself in the box in which you're forced to defend. But the more you look at it, the more you try, the harder you try, the points just keep evading you because it's not that they're evading you, they don't exist. You cannot teach it. That's just it. It's just something to just accept that, hey, you know what? Maybe you're not seeing like that before, but from today you realize that you cannot teach discipline. It can be in you. You can see a child, for instance, that is will consider indiscipline. I don't blame children. The child is indisciplined. He's just naughty, doing this. This child is naughty and stuff like that, right? An adult comes into the child's life and orientates the child. What you're thinking of is orientation. You maybe think of
Mm.
orientation and calling it teaching discipline. Orientation is not teaching. Orientation simply means what is orientation? I'm redirecting something. I'm directing towards something, right? So this energy that you're putting in this area, redirect it to this way. Instead of reacting like this, reacting this way. I'm orientating you. I'm giving you an orientation to help you turn your life around and come to being disciplined. Now, when you orientate people, how many people come out of that orientation change people? Not everybody, right? Not everybody. There always be cases. It comes down to okay, even then, okay, some people realize that you know what, those people that think they get to a point that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is how I should do things and stuff like that, and this is how responsible do this and that. They now get into themselves being disciplined. They were not taught how to be disciplined, but someone helped them see it. And now they become disciplined. Now they're doing this thing. You will never hear anyone say, I taught you how to be disciplined. No, right? I gave you a good orientation. I gave you good advice, right? All those things. Everything now, it comes down to you. And you will always hear it. At the end of the day, it comes down to you. Even when you go and pay, like people got pay financial instructors and all these people to help them on ways to get rich. You can pay these guys. What do they give you? Advice.
Yeah.
They tell you way to do it. Even people that want to learn how to trade, for instance, they'll teach you, will show you the ins and out. But if you don't have the discipline to follow, they'll even tell you that it's a time within which you have to follow this, read this, and do that. If you don't do those things, they cannot do it for you. You cannot come and tell them that I wasted my money on you, right? It's like a child saying that I wasted my tuition in school because after learning everything, after going to school, coming back, I don't have a job, I don't have a degree. You didn't pass because you didn't put in the time, you didn't study, you didn't follow the instructions that you were given, right? You can give orientation. Maybe that's what you wanted to say. You can give orientation to someone, but you cannot teach them how to be disciplined.
So it's like what I said earlier is I believe my both my parents install, and I think you can install discipline at a young age when people are very impressionable, minds are
Yeah.
fresh. Once you hit that threshold of 18,
Oh,
20,
definitely.
21,
In that case,
and
I
if
think it's
you,
more of hard work.
yeah,
Hard
yeah,
work.
well, I think they all play into each
You
other
can
kind of thing.
instill hard work in the child at a young age, like the importance of hard work. That way, as they're growing up, it becomes easy for them. You know what? I need to do this. I need to do that. Just do it. Do
I
it.
mean,
Do
so
it.
for example, anytime like when I was younger, growing up, if I did something that I made a mistake, my parents they didn't like harp on me. They were like, "Hey, you messed up." They made sure I understood I messed up, and then they go, "What are you gonna do to do better next time? How are you gonna make sure this doesn't happen again?" And I credit like my discipline I have as a human being, as an adult. I credit a lot of that to just how they handled any of my mistakes. They said they explained it as you have to do better, but how are you going to do? You need to figure out how you are
Yeah.
going to improve off of this. And I mean that was from as a young child. If I just made a mistake in life, as an athlete, if I made a mistake in sports, it wasn't, oh, it's okay. And I mean it was okay to an extent. I'm a child, but it will also, do you want to do better? Do you want to improve yourself? Do you want to not
You
make that
want to
mistake?
find yourself in the same mess next time.
Yeah, and I have a lot of appreciation for not only my parents but the sport I participated in the majority of my life, because it's a one-on-one sport. If you make a mistake, you're gonna feel that effect immediately. And so, you think about, how do I not let that happen again? You figure out what you have to do. And I've seen wrestlers who naturally talented, the most gifted sons of bitches I've ever seen. But their mindset, their determination, their actual hard work that they want to put in, it's the worst shit in the world. Ray Bond,
Yeah.
high school, when he first started wrestling as like a freshman, super skinny, not very good, became a pretty damn good wrestler after 4 years. You see what his physique is now. That came strictly from determination, which that sport also does a really good job of installing determination into kids at that young, very impressionable age. Which is why I've always said I'm thankful I participated in it because I wouldn't be the human being I am today with my work ethic and whatnot without that sport. Um, I mean, you see it on the pitch, the way I run. I have a goal in mind, and that is to get the ball up the field if we have it in our possession, or get the ball back if we don't have it in our possession. It's when it comes to like competition in sports for me, it is like a life and death. It has to be done kind of thing. But that's just because of how that determination has always been for me. It's a serious thing. Any kind of competition, and there's people who I at that professional level, they're very lackadaisical with that competitiveness and that I need to win. Not all of them have it. They've made it big. They're making their paycheck. So I think with some people who don't have that determination, when you start getting that paycheck, you don't have a reason. You don't. What are you being determined for? You've made it. You don't have a reason. That spirit's not there. But
So who are you picking?
between Jude and Jude all day, dude. Is somebody I can rely on. If I'm looking at those two players, I'm going, my team's in a bad spot in the 75th minute. I need someone to show up, even if like everybody's spirits are down. It's gonna be Jude who shows up. So
Yep,
it's
that's
it's
why I
Jude
picked
all
you.
day. Um, I mean, our last topic we have to go over.
Well, hold on, Francis. Who would you pick?
True.
Prime Pogba or Jude on your team?
We've been here. I completely forgot how to communicate with the parents of the the parents of the kids are coach. We have a game tomorrow, so I had to communicate with them. So I was like, let me say, I don't like texting elderly people very late. So I you know what, before it gets too late, let me just
Yeah.
I
let me
understand.
send them right now
Gotta
and
gotta
then
gotta take care of
get it
your
out of the way.
responsibilities.
So the thing about it is when you're comparing Jude and Pogba, which Pogba are you comparing with Jude? Because
Juve prime Pogba.
like if you see,
Boom.
which one is it, Juventus or Manchester United?
Oh, Juventus.
Yeah,
Juventus.
Juventus all day.
If you're comparing Juventus Pogba to Jude Bellingham, you're doing a disservice to Jude Bellingham. And if you're taking Jude Bellingham over him, then I'll call it recency bias. I'll say you should go back and watch what Pogba was doing with
Yeah,
Juventus.
I understand that.
Because
I understand that.
with Juventus was eliminated from the Champions League by Real Madrid
Mm-hmm.
and Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid twice, but with Pogba in it. And that Juventus team, they won the Scudetto. I think it was 2 times with Pogba, or 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, when they still, I believe when they still had Pirlo.
They won with Pirlo. They won with Pogba playing a key role in it. Jude is just starting with Real Madrid. The season is still early, and the praises are such that Madrid fans are dangerous. If he starts performing poorly, the way they'll be going down on him will be as loud as these praises, if not even louder. So you need to be careful. Jude has not had enough on his resume to be compared with Pogba, in my opinion. Like, give it a few years. Bundesliga, they didn't win. They didn't win anything with Dortmund. But did he play well? Yes, he played well, right? He played well. We spoke about the story of the history of talent and development from the Bundesliga, which is something that we're impressed with. Let's see what you do, Real Madrid. That's a team that has history, right? Juventus also has history. Let's see what you will do. Give him a full season at least before saying, okay, let's start looking at what it looks like. Because Prime Pogba won the Scudetto with Juventus, which is a tougher league than the Bundesliga, literally.
Oh, absolutely.
He won not once, twice, back to back, being one of the best players in Italy, not on Juventus, but the whole the league. Prime Pogba won the World Cup with France. And he didn't just win, I think he scored in the finals. So he has a lot on his resume that Bellingham is just starting. So comparing them is doing a disservice to Bellingham in all seriousness. So, and there's no way I'm taking Bellingham over Pogba. Because I feel like if you're taking Bellingham, it's recency bias. I'll ask you, what do you really have to back it up? You can't say it's indiscipline. You cannot say that because Pogba's disciplinary issues started in Manchester United. And this was after he had even won with Manchester United. He comes to Manchester first season, they win 3 trophies, right? They win, and he's playing out of position. So that's him having to adapt. Playing out of position, they win 3 trophies. Then our next is like, now I'm trying to go back to my position and everything. The indiscipline now kicks in. And probably after he won the World Cup and then now all the press, everything goes to his head. He becomes now he reverts from who he was to something else. It starts affecting his play. The quality is still there, but he's no longer the guy who we know he can be, right?
Mhm.
So if you kept that option, because what happens is like you're comparing that guy that was looking like he's falling off and becoming more of a problem on the team to a guy that has shown a certain level of maturity for his age.
Yep.
Right? So it's doing a disservice to Jude Bellingham. You give Bellingham some time and then come back to it. But if you want to compare it, look at Pogba at his beginning and Bellingham at his Bellingham from Dortmund season to his beginning of Real Madrid, and Pogba Juventus all the way to coming to United. It's night and day. Pogba clears the table. If I can just ask you, what has Bellingham achieved? There's nothing yet, right? It's
Not
still
wrong.
it's still empty.
Aside from being
It's still
captain of
empty.
Dortmund, but that's like
It's
that's it.
Dortmund.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Dortmund.
Yeah.
And he was captain not when Royce was in the field,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's Dortmund. Maguire is captain of United. So it's not achievement.
I'm just saying,
It's
you
not
asked for one
achievement.
thing that
No,
achieved, but that's like
achieved.
one thing.
I don't look at it as an achievement. Being a captain, already a captain is not an achievement.
That's not an achievement. It's,
Achievement is what did you win?
yeah.
You haven't won anything. It's not just what did you, because if you're on the bench and you won, no, nobody says you won.
Yeah.
Win as being a major contributor to winning. Pogba has won
Yeah.
I do
with
think
Juventus. Pogba has won with France, right? So you can't. And he went to 2 finals: Europa League, sorry, Euro League finals, lost to France. Sorry, lost to Portugal, and then went to World Cup finals and won, scoring a goal in the finals, being one of the best players of the World Cup.
yeah, no, that's yeah. I see where you're coming from there.
Yeah. So
For me, my decision still it does lie with discipline, but that's also because of what I know, what has
yeah,
already played out. If
that's
I'm
the thing.
picking him at that time, I
It's
don't know that.
recency bias because to look at discipline,
Yeah,
you cannot say
yeah.
Juventus Pogba. He was never in discipline. He never had any disciplinary issues. Juventus Pogba never had any of that. So that's why I say it's more of recency bias because you're looking at the recent Pogba and comparing him with Bellingham. So if you want to do that, Bellingham just started his career. Like it's not been long. Look at the number of years that Bellingham has played and go and compare Pogba of that time. That means if you do that, you won't include the
Yeah,
undisciplined
the
years.
discipline
You
years.
see?
Yeah. You
So
got a
that's
point. You
all I'm
got a
saying. So
point.
it's so right now I can't
Do like prime
that's not
Pogba a lot.
it's going to be a heavy. It's like let's say okay, Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or before Messi, right?
Mhm.
Imagine somebody coming in 2009 and saying that who's better, Ronaldo or Messi? You look at the person like a mad person. Oh, it's Ronaldo, of course. But you're doing a disservice to Messi because he's just starting. It's not that he's just starting his career, but at least Ronaldo had more time being
He
the
already
guy
was in
or
the spotlight.
someone that they can count on. But Messi had to wait, play from the bench, and get the starting lineup. But the guys was Ronaldinho, Deco, Eto'o,
Yeah. It
Xavi.
wasn't. It
It
wasn't
wasn't
some.
even yet Iniesta.
Yeah.
You see, so Belletti. So he had to wait his time while Ronaldo was already being mentored. And granted that the age was not misstated at the young age learning from great guys, bigger players than Ronaldo, but Ronaldo was in a situation where he was already being given more responsibility,
Mhm.
right? So you say you're doing a disservice when at that time you won't think about it, but fast forward 10 years to their career, we're looking at them as two of them on one stage, right? But when you look at it now, if you revisit an argument that I said back then saying that Ronaldo is way miles ahead better than him, you say now we did a disservice to Messi because we're comparing a version of Ronaldo to a version of Messi that we have not yet seen.
Mhm.
So let's wait, give some time because right now
Yeah,
we're doing a disservice. You will do it. It's either you're biased by not bias, recency bias by looking at the recent Pogba and forgetting about who he was, or you're doing a disservice to Bellingham because we've not given Bellingham enough time to build something on his resume and say, okay, let's compare the two of them right now.
No, yeah, you're spot on with that, all of that, 100%. It's a disservice to both players because
Yeah, to both.
you're either disservicing Jude by not giving him enough time, or disservicing Pogba by including too much
Yeah,
time with what the actual discussion.
including the
Prime
mess. Yeah,
Pogba, prime Pogba. If I don't see any sign of him
Slowing
having the
down, right?
issues he had, yeah, I'm probably picking him on my team as
see,
well. Yeah, that makes sense because I mean, not only does he have just about every skill attribute Jude has, but he's got more in the sense of the ball control, the vision. I mean, that man's vision, that long passing that
and the
he's got.
delivery in terms of trophies. Like France doesn't win without Pogba. Juventus doesn't win without Pogba. You see? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with you there. I can agree with you there. Cool. Let's get on to our last bit of conversation, and that is loyalty versus money. And what I personally mean by that, if you are a say 22-year-old player right now playing for say shit, I'm trying to think of a good example. Whatever every example I'm thinking of a team for loyalty, I'm having trouble here.
Speaking random things.
Let's say Napoli. We maybe aren't
Mm-hmm.
making the biggest check. You can make good money still though. You could be a club like you're an Italian. Let's make it even more, reason to have some loyalty towards them. You can either run a long career there and become a club legend, possibly win some serious hardware with them, or you can go make a serious bag in Saudi Arabia right now. I'm talking more money than you're going to see in any other contract in Italy. What are you picking?
So now this I'm going to go back to two things that I said earlier on in this discussion. The what we talked about the we're talking about talent, and I said there's a nuance in it because there's a nuance in the definition of talent because people have different ways of looking at it. So what do you call talent and what do you not call talent? And the other thing that I said was um oh, I just remember it and I forgot again. The other thing I said about the loyalty was the money thing was how much money is too much money.
Mhm.
At what point do you feel like money is not my issue right now, right? If you gave one example, but I'm going to go beyond and give another example. If I'm an Italian, right, and I'm playing for a club in my country, probably my hometown club, or I'm thinking of really playing in my town and my family, everything's there and stuff like that. Now, what was my family condition when I was growing up?
Mm-hmm.
And we know the economic situations of different areas are different. And then, you may be poor in a specific country. You make it to the league. Okay, you guys are fine. You already know your way and everything. I mean, it's good, like stuff like that. 22 years old. What are my ambitions? What do I want to achieve? Why am I playing in the first place? Am I playing to give my family a better life? Okay, now do I think they've had a better life where was settled for life because we do know so many athletes that go broke and even disappear
Mm-hmm.
after retirement. Some are not even guaranteed long contracts, like long term, like long careers, not contract, long careers. So if I don't know what tomorrow looks like, and then if if the question is this, let me make a question better. Is Saudi Arabia the only offer that is coming to me for big money? Do I have other clubs, possibly in Italy, offering me more than what I'm having, but still good money, not up to what Saudi Arabia is giving? So now I'll look at this type of things. Now, as an Italian, I want to stay in Italy. I
Mm-hmm.
want to stay here because Europe is my home. It's going that way is like a different world.
Yeah.
Yes, the money may be good, it's like a different world. Now, if I'm not an Italian, if I'm a foreigner, if I'm coming from a country that economically is not where Europe is, right? So we're talking about Africa, we're talking about Latin American countries. You're coming from all this area,
Yeah.
not Middle East, but like
Eastern
Asian.
European
Yeah, no, Eastern,
and
Eastern
Southeastern
European
European.
is not really. I mean, they're still good. Those guys are more traditional value people where they don't care a lot about money. They care
Yeah.
about principles and things.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go like Asia. Well, we don't have many footballers coming from India and China's area. China has money. So let's say Africa. Let's stick with Africa and Latin America. I'm going for that area. Most of the people that come from there, football is a means to an end to help
Yeah.
back home.
Well,
They have,
Sadio Mane.
yeah,
That's
you
that's
see.
my example of why
So
I would
they
take the money.
need they need they need the money. right? So if they come and someone begin that contract, they will most likely go for the money. You hear the you see, you're telling me that I'm going to sacrifice. Now, if I'm 22 years old, let me give this point. If it's me, I don't care if I'm Italian or I'm really African or I'm from Latin America. If I'm 22 and a club comes to me offering me a lot of money from Saudi Arabia, let me add this. If I'm very good, such that I'm already making headlines where big teams want me, club comes from Saudi Arabia that they want me, and I'm 22, I'm going to Saudi Arabia. This is the reason. I may never get the opportunity to make that much money anywhere else.
I see your point.
But I can play 2-3 seasons there. Let's say 3 seasons. 3 seasons, do something there. I'm still playing football, so it's not like I'm going to get rusty.
Right, yeah.
I'm still playing football. Bring more eyes, help push their development that way, whatever thing I want to do. Get the money. My family is financially secured, possibly for life. After about 10-25, I come back to Europe. Because guess what? If I'm that good, they want me, they will still want me.
They'll come for you.
God willing, I'm still healthy. Guess what? If I get a life-ending, a career-ending injury, I've already made the money.
Yeah, I see.
Because if I have that injury in Europe, I'm not making that money. I'm 22, meaning my career is still kickstarting. Or your career is just starting, you have not yet signed a big money. Because even the guys that are having names in the papers, like, oh, this is the next. Go and look at the contracts. They are still on rookie contracts. But because of the way they're playing now, your playing now does not mean your salary will go up. So your team can say, you know what, let's now renegotiate and extend your contract. So he signed an extension. That's where the big money now comes in, which will kick in when the old ones stop. You see? So you look at it, you're still young, you have never had it. That one comes. I'm going to secure that back first. I'm still going to go and play. My body is going to mature, I become stronger. I, I become my body is going to mature, I become stronger. Then I come now. Financially, I have nothing to worry about, no distraction. My family is set. I can play for peanuts for the team of my choice. You see, and see, find myself playing the Champions League, playing the Italian League, playing the Premier League, La Liga, whichever one I want to play.
Yeah.
At that point, money is not the issue. And it will be easier for me. I can say, you know what, maybe financial fair play, Real Madrid could not sign me because, or Barca could not sign me because they don't have a salary to pay me, that kind of thing. If I come in, I'm taking minimum wage. I can afford, I can make that choice as a free agent. I say,
Yeah.
I'll take minimum wage and come and play with the best players around, everything. Guys are already there. I don't care about that. Money is no longer my issue. It's fine for me. It's fine for me. But the only thing about that loyalty versus money issue is that this discussion has been pushed a lot by people who feel like talent is leaving from a league where they want to watch them compete to a league that they hardly watch and they don't understand, and they feel like you're going. It's that type. It's biased. Like, I don't know that side. Why are you going there? I want you to stay here where I can see you. It looks more like that. But one thing we forget is that what Saudi Arabia is doing now is what Europe has been doing for years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For
100%.
years to the entire world. They've held a monopoly on it.
Yep.
And they are still doing it.
England
So
in
now,
specific.
yeah. So now that they're feeling, they're mad at the fact that someone is competing, is outdoing them
100%.
at their same game. So I feel like it's hypocritical to get them and be complaining and saying that, oh, that's spoiling the money. You already did it. That's what you did. It was nice because those of us coming from regions where we need the money, oh, let's go and play and make the money, right? I think Mourinho has said several times that it would be nice. It would be nice if FIFA implements a rule where players should play for their country of origin, not just where you went and naturalized. Because if that happens, we'll see an African country win the World Cup. That's the reason for saying so, because like all these talents are pushed from Africa, right? Pushed from Africa, pushed from Latin America. Latin America is less even because it's just clubs, but most of them go back. Those that come and play this way are those that, if they go back, they may not. They look at it that I may not have a chance to make a national team. I have a bigger chance making it here than there. So they'll go there because the competition is really stiff, and of course the money is still better than back in Africa. But Africa is like the money is not really there, the politics, all stuff, things like that. But these guys will pay good, and I want the money to do. It's easy to poach from Africa. So now the national teams are stacked that way like that, and then now that's basically what Saudi Arabia is doing now. So
Yeah.
rather than look at it and he just okay, you know what? Again, let's just keep going. Football was supposed to be a poor man's game, a way to relax, entertain yourself, have fun, and play. Where there is, once you step on the pitch, there is no I'm rich, you're poor. We just play football. The Europeans brought money into it,
Yeah.
so they should just shut up when now Saudi Arabia is doing whatever thing they're doing. They should just hey, don't be hypocritical. Don't live in a glass house and shoot glass stones and start saying that glasses are cracking. Just leave it.
Go ahead.
Changing up your question, because I think I understand the route that you were trying to go, but I think the way you asked it might have been
I
might have been a
asked
little
it in
bit
a
too
terrible way
specific.
because
Yeah,
my
that's why I had to.
But yeah, because I
asked it in a
think what
bad
you were
way.
trying to say is recently, just not without even including Saudi Arabia in it, just generally speaking, you don't very often see players like Francesco Totti anymore, where you have the one guy who
Today,
stays for the club.
money has spoiled everything.
Yeah.
So
it very
It
much
has
has.
spoiled everything.
I think
Mbappe was this close to going to Real Madrid. Boom,
money.
money. Look, I don't care who you are. If you're about to sign the contract that PSG gave Mbappe,
1.3 mil of
let's even remove the clauses of he'll have a lot of control on routes, all stuff, things like that.
Yeah.
Let's remove those. Just the money
It's
is enough for you to say, "Oh,
hmm
maybe it's not that bad here. Life is yeah."
So I
So
think that's the route that you were trying to go.
So-
It's what are you choosing? Are you choosing the legacy and loyalty, or are you choosing money?
the way that
And
you put it.
again, it depends.
I like so yeah. It's a very situational answer because for me personally, I come from a lower class American family, but a low class American family is doing a lot better than a lot of other higher class families in other countries.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, if I'm that good to play a professional sport, I want the glory with one team. I want to write my legacy with a team, find love with that team, and I want to stay
You
with
have-
them because I know I'll make my money.
that happens when you have no financial pressure.
Yep.
Let me give you an okay. I'm African, right? Talk to any African you know. I'm not talking of those that were born here and grew their lives here. No, those that came from Africa. They will tell you this. Like, let me say, if you and I have a job and we are making the same salary in that job, right? I can't live the lifestyle that you will live. You can go on vacations, you can take trips, you can do. I can't do that. Why? Because when I take my check, so many people back home will be fed from that check. You see what I'm saying? So now, that's why you notice Africans tend to be very successful here because they come from a situation in which they're already used to working hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they have the sense of responsibility of we have so many people to look after. So if I stay just in this area, I can't even feed myself. And I have to, you get a call, someone is sick. You get a call, school fees. You get a call, like there's so much going on, right? So now, what do? You start thinking of different ways to make it happen, different ways to make more money. Oh, this trade pays more. Maybe I should go to school and learn this thing. This business. And if you notice, you see them really progressing. Because they're always thinking of back home, back home, back home. So,
Yeah.
okay, if I make them more, I make them more people I can help. Even if my family is doing well, there are other families that may not be doing well. And if I'm in a situation where I feel blessed by God to have something, I can give something back, right? So I'm going to keep pushing, especially if it's coming easy to me. Just doing it, and then you see, it's always going like that. So you said Mane, for instance. Like, well, no, Mane was one guy that I really want that he should be signed in Saudi Arabia because anyone that has been following him will know what he will do with the money, and
That's
he's
yeah.
really going to help. You see, those type of things like that. So if you're coming from a situation where money is not your issue or your family is already doing well, you don't care about those things. You're thinking about building your legacy. You're thinking about your legacy. But who cares about legacy when there's a kid that is hungry
I agree.
that you are aware of? Because when you come to a situation where you have not struggled or you don't see your family is fine and you don't come from, because traditions are different, right? Africans are more of family and extended, it can even be neighbors. where we tend to really care for each other for different people, and it's a normal thing. But yeah, caring for someone can even lead you into trouble. For instance, just caring for someone. So people tend to be introverts. People tend to be themselves and just be like that. So it's easy to come based on the environment. You come in a situation where there's no pressure on you on anything. So you're just thinking about your legacy, and you can find someone big, okay, just playing. For instance, here in the MLS. Oh, I like football. Oh, okay, I'm playing at the MLS. I'm fine. They think of building a legacy there and retiring. They're not even thinking of Europe. When you're talking of Southern, they're not even thinking of someone. They're not even thinking of going to Europe. Why? Because there's nothing that pushes them towards that. Now, some now that are like that look at it and say, wow, I would like to one day hear the Champions League as a player on the field. They're thinking now of Europe as target because they want to play the Champions League. You see, those things changes. But those people now that theirs is, I came from poverty. And I want to help these people. Look at Oscar, for instance. At what age did Oscar go to China?
It was like 20,
22.
25. Oh, was it that young?
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he
young.
was young.
Wow, I
Like
thought he was more
23.
mid.
He was
Yeah.
young. That was one of the first transfers that shocked
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
And he didn't hide it. He said, hey, don't get this thing twisted. All of us came to play here for money. You see, it's not guaranteed. If I can get injured, a life-ending injury tomorrow, I won't be able to. Would you take care of my family? No. So if I get an opportunity to make that bank, I'm going to do it. Right?
No, yeah, I hear that.
Did he did say like I miss playing for Chelsea, all this thing, like I would like to play champion and everything like that, but he does not regret his decision for even a second because of what he's able to do with it. You see, so
Yep.
it's just bad. So it all comes down to who are we talking about and like what they need it for. Like I was talking about Messi, I said how much money is too much money. For instance, like you said, you could come back to Barca or you could have stayed in Barca because you already worth so much. Your name alone is worth a lot, right? You could still stay and say, you know what, you guys have money to pay, no problem. I'm going to reduce. We're talking about loyalty. Look at the Italians. When Juventus went to the when they were penalized and they went to the second division, Del Piero at the time, Madrid was after him like hell, and Perez thought that yes, for sure, right now they'll probably want to leave. Nope, I think Cannavaro left, but Del Piero played Division 2 with Juventus.
Yeah,
there's very few
Ranieri
instances
brought
like
them.
that.
So it's if you look, it's mostly Italians and Germans. Then you don't the rest, you don't really see it again. You don't really see it like that. So it's I think there is. And you look at the countries involved are people that they have a certain. It starts with family values.
yeah.
It starts with that. Eastern European countries. Yeah, okay. You follow UFC, right? If you listen to Khabib, the way when Khabib is always talking, they tell you about the values that they had growing up.
Yeah.
Money is an afterthought.
Yeah,
Not
no, very
everything
much.
I need. Money just adds now things I want. If I have, you needs are the things that come into play for your survival. Wants are the things that just put you to a comfortable state and luxury, right? If I don't have a TV, should I be sad? No. I have food. I have shelter, right? I have health. Those are things that I need. A TV now, I want a TV. Or it would be nice. It would be nice to have a TV. I want to watch some things. If I have some money, I can buy a TV. But if I have just enough which I live, I'm still happy.
Right.
So now those people grow up with values in which money is not so much an issue to them, right? So now legacy now will be more important. But now when you come from a situation where you have none,
Yeah.
you're barely scratching to survive. You can't even say you have the money, nor do you even have the needs, or you can't survive. Or if you have, but so many around you don't have, you're thinking about making the most you can, not for yourself, but to turn around
For
and
the others, the
for
ones
the others.
the ones you love and care about.
So yeah, so when you get into that situation where the opportunity comes, you're taking it with both hands. It's just it.
No, I hear where you're coming from. 100%.
Especially with
It's
injury
definitely
being a factor. I mean, you
it's
could lose all that. Boom.
yeah,
tomorrow.
it's definitely that the answer to that question definitely comes down to where did you come from?
What are your values?
What do you need? What do you need?
Values.
I agree. No,
It's a
yeah,
values.
I like the way you put all that out because for me, I always had a more of I guess a cynical view of you guys are already professionals making a lot of money. Just keep making your tons of money And that's very specific players because there's a good amount of players who at this point have gone to Saudi Arabia who weren't making an insane amount of money at the club that they were.
Yeah, some of them are
Now
making
they very much have
I
increased their
mean,
life.
other than Ronaldo, Benzema, that they're already making some good amount of money, and although they're making more in Saudi Arabia in their careers, other than those guys because they already made more, there are some guys that were barely just starting to make money,
Yeah,
and they've banged out the most they could make by going there. So I mean, and figures are very deceptive. Yeah, oh, this guy's a $10 million contract, agent fee,
Mm-hmm.
taxes. Yeah, so there's some Spain needs to be investigated. I'm tired of hearing so many big players being held for tax evasions and stuff. Like, what's going on? It's like, oh, it's just something wrong. There's
Very
something wrong.
common out in Spain.
I'm
It's
telling
very
you, it's
common.
something wrong. But uh, you hear all these fees and everything. By the time, what are you left with? Not so much. And then you get into a lifestyle in which you're just spending highly. You retire today, you find yourself struggling to do TED Talks. After that, you're trying to live off your name now to make some money. Charity matches here and there, like, it's not really common. Trying to get endorsements is difficult unless you are someone like you have really had a name that is everywhere. Like Ronaldo, for instance, it would be difficult for you not to make some money. Even if you go broke, there'll always be an opportunity for you to make something. So other than that, there's so many guys that are in the shadows. How about players who have fallen into situations in which they had vultures for wives who the moment they snap their career going to end, took everything of theirs.
Yeah.
And we do know that some of these guys, I'm not insulting them, but many of them are not um intellectually sound because they've spent most of their time learning a specific trade and they've trusted certain people to take care of the financial aspects of their life. And those people now have stabbed them in the back. And then they come out with no money. There are more players that have gone broke than players that are actually that have money. So just think about that. So it's easy to look and say that, oh, you're making a lot of money. Now, come on, you're making a lot of money. If you can just secure yourself like that, where you make so much money, even someone steals something from you, you still have something to hold your life. I mean, that's good. Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. At the end of the day, I still want to watch. I mean, as time is passing, I'm beginning to we're talking about this people who they don't no longer make players like Totti, Del Piero,
Royce.
Royce is
Royce.
another decent one.
Royce,
Good example.
Gerard,
Puyol.
all those guys, Iniesta even because I mean all these guys like that, the Martinez, the other players like that. We're getting to we are fast, we are quickly getting to an era in which football is becoming
A business.
pure business, just pure business, and it's soon going to become boring to watch. Like you will not even feel like watching a game again. Sometimes I just feel like when this wave of guys, Ronaldo, Messi, and a few guys left, once they retire, I'll be searching for motivation to watch football. Meanwhile, prior to that, I was looking forward to like, come on, I can't wait. I just wanted to watch any form of football.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, the season started already. I didn't even realize it. Like I'll even miss an Arsenal game and not be bothered about missing it. I'll go and watch the highlights. I'll go and check the scores. If there's need for me to watch it, then there's some game that mark my calendar. I have to watch this game. But prior to that, I wasn't just watching just my team play. I was watching any league game.
Form of football you can
I was just watching.
Yeah.
Like I was really watching. It was enjoyable. Like the respect was there, everything was there. The joy of watching football was there. Now it's just money, just money grab, money grab, money grab, money grab, money grab. It's like money and politics, money and politics.
That's
Like, what
the
are we
other
doing?
part, is the politics part.
It's annoying.
It ruins the game. It used to be, like you said, one of those things you'd wake up and you'd be like, yes, I can't wait. Oh, there's game here, there's game here, there's a game here. Even El Clasicos don't give that same flair that
Oh,
they
it's
used
gone,
to.
it's gone. But I blame Ronaldo and Messi for that one because
That one, yeah.
they brought a certain flair.
Yeah, they brought
It
that
was
flair.
something else. It was something you're looking forward to. It felt like the entire season was always built towards, especially the first one was so, but the second El Clasico, like the third one, deep into the season. After and then it felt like the way they were competing with each other, every other team was a casualty of war.
Yep.
Because you wake up on the Saturday, you say, okay, Real Madrid is playing, Barcelona in the evening. Real Madrid win that game 3-1, you already know Barca's game is going to have at least four, if not, if they don't have 3 goals or 4 goals, or if it ends like 2-0 or 2-1, there will be like 50 shots on target. You know that it's going to
Yep.
be an entertaining game. Why? Because Real Madrid won. No, we have to. So it's like it feels like Real Madrid beat them 3-0, and then they're going to beat Real Madrid in that other team. So it was just like that. And then it was entertaining. You had Dortmund and Bayern doing the same thing. You
That
had
was
Lewandowski.
another one.
Lewandowski was still in Dortmund with with Godze at the time. Then he just disappeared like that. But that was the time when football just sit in front of a screen like that. You're entertained the whole day. Now you're looking for which game will be entertaining.
hmm
And sometimes it even feels like watching two mid-table teams play is even better than some of these other teams because
Sometimes, yeah,
it's annoying.
yeah. Especially in these other leagues too, like the Spanish league,
Mhm.
and even in the Bundesliga, you find some games that are just very, very fun and entertaining to watch. In the Premier League, it's still a little bit unpredictable. Where like a bottom table team will beat a big six team, but big six team depends on your definition of it. But you don't
Yeah,
find it
it's
as
Big Five. Chelsea's not on that. Chelsea's no longer in that conversation. They are not a big.
well,
They're not a big six team. As in their current state, they are not. I'm sorry. You drew to Luton Town, who is on course to have the literal worst Premier League season, or at least one of them. Sorry, no. You spent £1 billion and haven't won a single game this season. You've scored one goal, not even in the Premier League this month. That's disgraceful. You can't spend £1 billion and come up with these results. You can't. I don't want to hear any excuses of
It, it's so funny that I don't even watch Chelsea games anymore, but it's like I'm like, okay. I mean, from the time that they were signing all these guys, I'm watching the highlights, and these guys are good. I'm like, okay, these guys will score goals. We wake up in the morning, before I even see the score, I'm seeing the Chelsea jokes. These guys lost the game.
it's crazy though. Like you see such a drastic difference. The Moise Caicedo that you saw at Brighton, I don't know what happened.
He costed me. I don't know why I put him in my fantasy team. We were still at Brighton. I bought him. Then now Chelsea bought him. I forgot to take him off my list. So it was annoying. It was in my lineup. After I took him off. I took him off.
I mean, it's like he forgot how to play. I watched the one game that I watched, Chelsea game that I watched fully, where it was not his debut game. It was the second game. He was tripping over himself with nobody around him. I'm like, how do
pretty
you?
bad.
Chelsea needs to be investigated. They need to be. What week was it? Last week where Joao Felix scored. He had a good week.
Oh, he
A,
scored
a,
two and
a,
assisted
a
one.
bunch of Chelsea players playing for different teams that just left Chelsea scored that week.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Christian
Uh,
Pulisic
yeah,
started off great for AC Milan.
they scored. So I saw a post where somebody come out and then they said, "Yeah, maybe the problem is Chelsea. It's not the players."
They really, I agree. They do need to be
I
invested
think what
for multiple reasons.
been on Tottenham for however many years now. I think that got just transferred over to Chelsea because I mean they're in worse condition than Tottenham's been over the last few years.
that Tottenham was not even that type of condition.
No, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Yeah,
like
Chelsea's worse. Like whoever put that
I
hex.
think almost everybody was expecting that Chelsea was going to compete for the Premier League this season.
I thought Pochettino was
Nah,
missing
I've never seen Pochettino as that guy.
All I know is
Because if he was that guy, right, he could have won with PSG.
fair. That's a very fair point. That's a
Because
fair point.
I
That's too much talent.
saw you with talent. He had more talent. He even had Messi, right? He was there last season.
Yeah, he was there for the season. Yeah,
Pochettino?
Yeah, he was there for
good,
like
He had
yeah.
Messi.
3 seasons. I think he was there for 3 seasons.
I think the first season that they had Messi was Poch's last season because
It
then
was last season.
Thomas Tuchel took over, and then Thomas Tuchel went over to Bayern. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. They couldn't win it. They couldn't win it with Poch or Thomas Tuchel, who had just won a Champions League.
Now, Thomas Tuchel's own, he went to the finals. No, they got to the finals. Then the next season, now he was fired. I think it was more of a political. It was something when that they didn't like or whatever. It was a surprising.
It was.
It was a
Everybody was
surprising
shocked.
fire. It was a surprising fire. So there's something off about that one. So I'm not going to put Tuchel in that class because I think if they gave him more time, he could have probably done something. But Chelsea, because we saw Tuchel do something with Chelsea. Pochettino, with Tottenham. You will say you can say, well, the team or the talent. You had the talent in PSG. What did you do?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I think the Thomas Tuchel PSG issue was I think that's a Germany French thing. German and French thing.
Yeah,
Over history,
France
they don't really have
history.
good relations.
I mean, if it were you too, so if someone conquers your country in a day, you know.
If I'm a PSG fan, I see Thomas Tuchel at the wheel. I'm like, last time we let Germans in, that did not go smooth. We should not be doing this. Why are we repeating history right now?
In a day? Oh yes, that's funny.
All right, fellas, we're running on 3 hours here. This is gonna be a lot for me to go over for clips, and it is 11 o'clock. I think I'm gonna call an end to this. This was a great episode.
It
A
was.
lot of
Thank you
really
for
good.
joining us,
Yeah,
Francis.
man,
I appreciate
I
you
Yeah,
taking the time. I know it's a far drive.
I appreciate it.
thoroughly enjoyed.
One of these
this,
days we'll have to get Gideon on here too. That'll be
maybe
fun.
we can
Gideon and David.
I was gonna say,
That'd be
dude,
fun.
I would love to get as many people from the group chat in here just
Oh,
to
that'd be
just to
cool.
throw out comments. I can set this place up to where we can host a lot of people. We can find a
And
camera
get like a
angle that
big round
works.
table.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
Or
But
even
yeah,
just this table, just set people up.
yeah. No, there's more fun stuff we can do. Before we do sign off, next week's announcement.
Oh, jeez.
We are starting a career mode with Luton Town. We're not just gonna win the Premier League with them. We're gonna win a treble with them. That Champions League is coming to that tiny stadium. People are gonna be able to look out their back windows and.
Is that in career mode? Are you going to transfer any players to Luton
Oh,
Town?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're working with their budget though, so
Yeah, we are
You're working with a budget. You're working with a budget. Yeah. If they're not playing on rookie mode, they're not winning anything.
Yeah.
I have faith.
We might get
all the faith.
relegated a season or two,
I think
but
what happens
it's
is we
okay.
get relegated for a season and then we come back, get in the Prem right away, and 2 seasons of mid-tableness, and then I think
No,
4 seasons in, I think
Now,
we start.
now I feel like actually going to play career mode. I haven't played career mode in a long time.
Apparently, they did a lot of work to it this year. Who the hell knows? They say that
Every year, yeah.
But
They have done a lot of work. This new FIFA does look nice. I like
it
some
does.
of the
It
animations
does.
and stuff.
It feels different. It feels different. I am
they
excited.
You haven't played it yet?
No, I got it
He
last
hasn't.
night. Yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to our one viewer who has been with us for almost 3 hours now. I feel like that's Cracks.
Nah, he
You're
would
an
have said something.
absolute legend. Yeah, I thought I was waiting
Cracks
for
would
it.
be vocal.
But you, sir, ma'am, are a fucking legend. Thank you for being with us this whole time. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed doing this podcast. Fellas, any closing notes?
No, I think we touched on everything.
Yeah,
I'm good.
It was a nice conversation. I mean, I didn't even feel the time go by. So.
Right?
No, yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
kept
was fun.
looking at the clock and I kept seeing the time like big increase. I'm like, damn, really?
Shit.
But, ladies and gentlemen, Cat,
Oh, that's our sign off right there, huh?
Cat.
Yeah.
I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your night, fantastic weekend, and good week. We'll see you all
Next
next
week.
week with some fun stuff.